This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CFs, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Boys and girls all over the world, thank you all for tuning in, downloading whenever you download, day, night, weekends, holidays, however it is. You connect with us, social media, here on YouTube. What up? We got, Twitch, all kinds of stuff. Even on Twitter, some people maybe. One guy, I remember a couple weeks ago, a guy goes, "Hey, man, I don't see the Twitter link so I can watch the show." I'm like, it's on YouTube, right? You could just go to YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It tells you exactly when we go on the air. It sends you a little notification. You're like, oh, okay, I can go to the show, that kind of stuff. Oh, that's some guy reached out. I don't know if I told this story yesterday, but some idiot that, you have burner accounts and you could tell, right? Like they have no picture, they have some fake name, they barely have any followers or whatever. And the guy's like, "Well, let me tell you, your stance on Tua, when your contract is up, your radio station's going to fire you." I'm like, brother, do you know you're watching and listening? There's no radio station. I have no contract. We control everything, content, everything, dude. Some guy actually is listening to me, pissed at me, right? And he's telling me, "Oh, you're going to get fired when your contract is up." It's like, yeah, dude, I don't tie myself to contracts anymore. I'm done with that shit. Others have to do that. Thank the Lord, Sean and I don't have to do that and get stuck with the corporate world. We get to dictate our own terms, which very few in this world can actually do that. So we are incredibly, incredibly blessed. Oh, man. So good stuff. Anyway, so we got a lot of things to talk about today. We got several people to talk to. Manny Navarro will stop by. We're going to talk to Anthony Chang. We'll talk to Michelle Kaufman. So we'll get a little preview on Inter Miami later on in the show. We'll talk to Anthony Chang. We'll get his thoughts on all the Heat injuries going into the game tonight against the Thunder on TNT, by the way. So for those of you that did not pay for your Bally's, you can actually watch it on TNT. Manny Navarro will join us and talk about all the new players that Mario continues to add through the transfer portal or anything else that he can recruiting or you name it, as he just continues to build and build and build and build. And let's hope that, they're only a couple of years away from what you saw last night. Boy, Georgia lit up TC. Holy crap. That was terrible. It was terrible. It was unwatchable is what it was. But good for Georgia. I mean, look, Georgia, it's pretty awesome for Georgia. Georgia has been a choking program for years, dude. They would fall short every opportunity they ended up there, and the Kirby hiring has, and you're always wondering that Saban tree has produced a lot more than the Belichick tree. The Belichick tree doesn't produce jack crap, But the Saban tree, I mean, Jimbo's already won a championship. And so now you look at what Kirby Smart is doing. He's just absolutely tearing it up. And back-to-back champions. They're the favorites to win it again next year. It's pretty cool for Georgia fans to see the turnaround that's happened with them because they've been so used to being teased and not being the team. And then last year they just broke through that glass ceiling. And now that what they did was put a nail in the coffin and say, no, this isn't a fly-by-night thing. No, we're here to do more. And so, that's kind of part of the game. So pretty cool for Georgia and what they've been able to do and able to accomplish. So I like that. Anyway, Big O, let them know you are the contract. Yeah, yeah. I just that was hilarious, man. That's when your contract's up, they're gonna fire you. By the way, in radio, there isn't much left there in radio. By the way, is Joe still on? Was Joe on today? When's he gone? Like by the end of the month or something? Was he on today? Were you in the streets today? I don't get to hear him until Thursday or Friday.
No, I'm not in the streets till Thursday or Friday as well. This week.
Okay. All right.
But I do know Zach is no longer on the show.
Yeah, that's why I saw that, because obviously those are the planning stages to start to dismantle the show.
We went to Digital Content Odyssey and
I thought it was last year. It's probably this year, like January, February, probably the end. It's coming pretty close. But good move for Zach, man. Good for him, man. Got to try to survive, dude. Andrew Moore says, I've been on Twitter for 13 years, same account. I only have 15 followers. Prize was Bernie Kosar's daughter. Okay. All right. Bernie Kosar just got booted off the Browns. I don't know if you guys saw that. You're not supposed to bet if you work for the NFL. And I think he made a $19,000 bet or something on, I forgot what it was. Was it the Browns or was it something else? Or
yeah, it was his show. His show, the sponsor, the money was going to charity, but he put $19,000 on the Browns to win.
Right. Because he was number 19.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So okay. So and then they said, no, that's illegal. Can't do that. And so they ended up firing him. The problem is that's the law. That's the rule for them. And if they allow you to do it, they just suspended a player for a year, Calvin Ridley. And the Jags will get him back next year after the suspension. But, if you're going to suspend a player and you're an employee for the NFL, too bad, so sad, man. Those are the rules. You know it. You work for the NFL. You cannot be a part of gambling. Even if it's for a charity or whatever it is, you just can't be a part of it. You can't use it because then somebody else will say, well, no, but I did it for a charity. And then, then the funny stuff starts happening, and you just can't allow that. So I definitely understand where the NFL was coming from. Well, by firing Bernie Kosar. That's the rule, dude. You work for the NFL. You cannot gamble, period. That's it. And so that's I don't have any sympathy for Bernie in that sense, because you got to know the rules. Anthony says, good morning, Big O. How many times have the Dolphins versus Bills played in the playoffs? Feel you know more than me. Jason Sanders took a nature B Sunday versus the Jets. Well, thank God he was on that day, my brother. And I don't know how many times they've met in the playoffs. It's several. There's no doubt. They've met a few times. I wouldn't know exactly the amount. I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew. And I know this is, it's, we get it all on the DMs. I'm getting it on my Twitter. I'm getting it on Instagram. I'm getting it on Facebook. This is one of those that this game is so personal for fans. Football is, it's king. You know that, and I know that. It just dominates everything. And we're fanatical about it like the world is about soccer. The world is fanatical about their football. We're fanatical about our football. We're not fanatical about football. We're fanatical about football. It's religion to us. High school, college, the NFL. And so it's the way it's kind of the extension of the Roman gladiators. Not nearly as deadly or bloody, but sometimes it could be deadly because we almost had it with Damar Hamlin. And so we know that there are, it's just this sport that we have all gotten around and grown up. And so it blinds us. And you have a lot of those attitudes of people, end all be all, doesn't matter what it takes. And you don't care about anything except the result. You don't care about the human being. You don't really care about anything except your team winning. And if the player blows his knee out or whatever, well, then, hey, we'll move on to the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. And, as I've talked about it many, many times over, none of you care about any of the players that left the game and all their struggles physically and mentally and dementia and Alzheimer's and hip replacements and knee replacements. And, dude, every year when I do the Larry Little Hall of Famers dinner at Hialeah Park, you get to see a lot of the older players there, and you see the physical ailments that they're going through because this game kind of tore them up. You know what I mean? And that's when, it hits you like, just, yeah, there's glory, but then there's a lot of horror behind the scenes. And none of you are going to care that, some guy was living under a bridge because, he went crazy and started and lost his way, or none of you are going to care. You only cared when he tackled 150 times a year and ran his head like a bulldozer into people, and you were screaming for it. And then after that, after he's used up and cast it aside, none of you care. And so we're in that stage, and it's, Tua's got to play for some people no matter what. This is his job, whatever. And some of us, like myself, I'm thinking more long term. The problem is, and this is the part I understand about the argument, most people will tell you, what long term? Oh, the guy can't stay healthy. So play now. What the hell? He's got nothing else. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, if this kid can learn to be like Sidney Crosby, okay, you got the concussion. Give it a rest, recover, then come back and play. And hopefully he can learn actually how to get rid of the ball. Maybe next year he can deal without, because it really wasn't about injuries this year. You know what I'm saying? It's not about a hip injury and blowing out your ankle or a fractured finger or fractured ribs. It was all concussions. That's not the thing that's not been his issue ever in his career. So this is something completely different. Because the whole thing was, oh, he's injury prone, which it's a fair label because he's had injuries all throughout college, high school, college, and the NFL. Okay? So he's had injuries. This wasn't injuries. These are concussions. It's a whole different ballgame. So now we've got to, get through this, but there's a way of getting through this, I believe, where you can have a long career. He avoided the injuries. Now you got to learn to avoid the concussions. And how do you learn to avoid those concussions? We've talked about that. Get rid of the ball. Don't hang on to it for 4 or 5 seconds. Don't serve yourself up for defensive linemen that are fighting to get through offensive linemen. Just think about that. Think about the action of a defensive lineman. You're coming off the line with a lot of anger, and then you run into a wall called an offensive lineman. And that offensive lineman is making your life harder to get to the person you need to get to, which then infuriates you even more. So by the time you are able to break away from the guy and you lunge forward, brother, it's like the Flintstones all over again, and you're chasing a Brontosaurus burger. Because after I have worked my ass off to get through that mammoth human being, I'm putting some damage on your ass. That's exactly what these people think. And they should. That's part of football. But the good thing for Tua, it wasn't about injuries this year. It was more about concussions. So for me, I kind of lean on the educated side of it and say, kid, you got to learn, educate yourself. Okay? Watch other guys like you. They learned how to get rid of the football. They're not standing around playing hero ball. Drew Brees is not putting shoulders into people in a tackle like Tua did, which was incredibly stupid after a concussion. So Tua's got to learn to be smart so he can protect himself long term, so he can be there for the Dolphins the next week and the next series and the next quarter and the next season and everything else that comes with it. So you were able to avoid injuries this year, but you're not able to avoid something new now that you've added to your history, which is concussions. Now you can tweak that. So I'm of the, school of just let him rest out for the rest of the offseason, let his brain get set, let his head rest, all that stuff, and then start fresh next year. And hopefully part of training camp, part of a lot of that is McDaniel forcing him to make the quick decisions and not hang on to the football. And hopefully that kind of stuff is being coached out of him in scrimmages, in practices, in preseason, things like that before you get to the regular season. That's where I'm at. Okay. Now you start to look at the landscape and, they're saying, well, he's already working out. You heard the coach talk yesterday that he's, building up a sweat. He's at the stadium. That crazy son of a bitch would have played last week. Tua easily would have played last week. It looks to me like if they clear him, he's going to play. Now, would I do it? No. I would hold him out. I just, even with Tua, this is not a Super Bowl caliber team because they're just too injury riddled. So to me, that's my problem with all of this. If it was a Super Bowl caliber team, I can understand the sacrifice and the risk and say, wow, man, it's the, oh, God, help me out there, Sean, the pitcher for the Strasburg. Several years back, the Nationals had one hell of a team, and they held out Strasburg because he was coming off that Tommy John surgery, and he had the certain amount of innings that he could pitch. And once he reached that threshold, they weren't going over it, and they refused to go over it. And by the way, he ended up becoming an MVP for the next championship. That the next time that they had a shot, that they did win the championship, Strasburg was healthy. So you never know if it really worked out by holding him out. Maybe it did, because he was a very injury-prone player. And so right now, what I fear with Tua is the concussions are coming easier. And that's what I'm afraid of. If he plays in this game, you can trigger another one that, again, I'm not a doctor, but from the history of all of this and watching it, it just seems like it will happen easier and easier as it continues. So, so this is just one of those crazy things that you're going to be going back and forth, and you're probably going to be arguing or discussing it with a lot of irrational people, because football is a Neanderthal sport, and it produces a lot of Neanderthals, especially on the fan side. Okay. I would say that out of all sports, football has the dumbest fans that exist on the planet. Okay. Overall, lowest IQ, I would go with football fans. That's kind of my experience in dealing with people that cheer for all these sports. Football is probably the dumbest sport of them all. Okay. So this is kind of the animal that we're going to deal with Tua, because humanity is not really important here in this case, unfortunately. Brooklyn Rob, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, good morning. Oh, please let the Marlins know that the old age home called and they are looking for Johnny Cueto. He seems to have wandered off and they're concerned for his well-being. Wait, hold on a second. You might have gotten something over on me here. Did the Marlins really bring Johnny Cueto back, or did they sign some old guy or something? Because I am not. He got me on this one. I have no idea what he's talking about with the Marlins. What did they do, Sean? Do you know? Because he got me on this one.
I don't know if it's in reference to. I believe it was Johnny Cueto and Aroldis Chapman were throwing, and the Marlins were one of 2 teams that were there.
Oh my God!
But they were throwing in Coral Springs. He was local. It wasn't like they traveled to see them. I mean, I'm just saying.
I know, but would you even?
That's what that is in reference to. That's the only thing I've seen.
Oh wow,
about
that's bad.
But again, I don't know if that's 100% what he's referring to.
God, that's pathetic. That's pathetic. Brooklyn Rob, wow, that is terrible, man. Thank you. I did not know that. And see, that's my problem with the Marlins. I don't care. So I don't even follow what the hell they're doing because they don't care about winning. They have no money to win. Yeah.
Chad is in the chat, and it says they signed Cueto to a 1-year deal, guaranteed. Where'd it go? $8.5 million guaranteed. So I guess they saw and
Johnny Cueto. Wow. Okay. All right. Johnny Cueto, Cincinnati's own. Where is Johnny Cueto right now? He's 36 years old, bro. Seriously? 36 years old. You're signing a guy that is 36 years old. Wow. He had a 3.35 ERA last year in 158 innings. Oh, God. Well, it's a diamond in the rough, 102 strikeouts, 161 hits, in 158 innings. It's actually not bad numbers for an old man, to be quite honest. But you know what? It is a veteran for the young staff, but $8 million. Wow. Okay. Just shows where they're at, man. You got to count on Johnny Cueto. Holy moly. Damn, that is bad. That is bad. Thank you, Brooklyn Rob, for that. Depressing, but thank you. Oh, man. Love that. All right. Don't forget, folks, proud sponsor of our program is the great people at Sloman's Home Shield. And they've been protecting and servicing Americans for over 100 years, folks. And by the way, for our friends that live up north, whether you live in Connecticut or New Jersey or New York or Maryland or Virginia or even Georgia, by the way, congratulations, George. What are you paying for heating oil? Because it is cold up there sometimes. And right now, all you got to do is call 1-866-OIL-DEAL. That's 1-866-OIL-DEAL. You'll get the fixed price to save you hundreds of dollars. Tell them that Big O sent you. All you got to do, you know what you're paying for heating oil every month. Make the phone call, 866-OIL-DEAL, and just compare. That's all you're doing. That's all. A 5-minute call, maybe even less than that. You'll find out exactly what you're paying. You know what you pay and what you could be saving. That's it. That's all you got to do. 1-866-OIL-DEAL. You're going to be saving hundreds in the long term, and you're going to keep your family nice and warm or your business nice and warm. And it's a fixed price because they're always looking out for you. And by the way, when we talk about Sloman's Home Shield right now, 40 Big O listeners will give you a free doorbell camera, baby. Yes. And that doorbell camera is just a blessing. You know exactly who's at the door. You can communicate with them, whether you're in the house or whether you're on your way or you're at work or something. Oh, leave the package right there. I'm not interested. Or you don't even want to answer the door because they might be selling something. You don't even want, you're hanging out. I've done it many times. Many times. That doorbell camera has saved me from walking over there. So I look, I see who's there. Oh man, I don't want to talk to those people. The dogs will bark a little bit more. Maiden will be on the other side of the door. Usually the best thing is, so they ring the doorbell. I see who's there. Maiden runs to the door. She stands at the door. She's barking with this nasty ass bark that, you know, if you're on the other side of the door, you're like, I hope they don't open this door because this animal's going to eat me alive, which she will, by the way. She is mean as a skunk with rabies. Okay. I mean, seriously. Like, she's an angel with us, but strangers, oh man, that dog is a great attacking dog right there. That is a great security dog for your house. Maiden is awesome. Anyway, so I get to see it, and then I see their nervous faces, which is awesome. I see them, they back away from the door. It's great comedy, I got to tell you. I should actually get that video and put it on the show just to show. But you know what? I might like that person. I don't know how to do and put the blank on their face or something. So that way although you want to see their faces. You know what I mean? But I don't want to do that to them. 1-800-ALARM-ME. You'll get that free doorbell camera. And when you use our professional installation, low-cost central station monitoring, which comes with all of it, we're going to also get you an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 3 arm doors, and a backup battery, and you're going to feel nice and safe. 1-800-ALARM-ME if you're looking for a new alarm system for your home in any of the states that I talked about, not just Florida. California, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, Maryland, Virginia, Georgia. And if you're looking for heating oil, 1-800-ALARM-ME. Oh, the heating oil, by the way, it's 1-866-OIL-DEAL. Pretty easy to remember. All right. Chris Hollis, thank you for the love in the super chat. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo. You can send your questions, your comments, your insults there at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. And if you want to make a donation through, Bitcoin there on Cash App or Venmo, you can at Cash Big O Show. So Chris Hollis says, I took my oldest son to his first Dolphins game, and Big O, you were right. It was worth every cent just to be at a Dolphins football game. My boy, and the win was just a perfect bonus. Thank you. There you go. Of course, man. That's all that matters. You were there with your son. You went to a Dolphins game. They won, so they clinched a playoff spot. That's super cool. Just like I told that guy that he has a chance to go to the Buffalo game. Listen, man, I get it. Without Tua, we have no shot. Okay? You're not winning anything with Teddy. You got no shot with Teddy. And with Skylar, you can even forget about that. It's not even, you should be happy if they can score a touchdown with Skylar. Okay? So that stuff, I totally understand. But the experience to be at a game, I think, is the coolest thing. And to get to go to a playoff game, you don't know when the next one is. So if you're blessed to be able to go to a playoff game, I would go no matter what. Okay? And by the way, while those Buffalo people, some of the fans are just, they're kind of morons jumping on tables and all that. The rest of them, they're not bad people, bro. So it's not like you're going to California and you got to deal with some of those idiots that they're always fighting and all that stuff. Those people in New York, they'll give you some BS, of course, but I think you'll be safe, in other words. Okay? Now, a game in California, Northern or Southern California, the way some of those idiots act, yeah, that might be a whole different ballgame. You don't want to go to an Eagles game, in another uniform, because those people are flat out animals. See, that's different. They don't act like that in Buffalo. Okay, they're pretty cool. except for, of course, the morons that dive on tables. Now, those people I have, what can I tell you? Mamondo Crypto, Finns can beat any team in any day with their starting QB. Yes, with their starting QB. Actually, this team doesn't have that much talent, Mondo. You had one good statement, and then you came up with a stupid statement to back it up. This team doesn't have a lot of talent. A lot of talent has been injured. So that's the problem. If they were healthy, then yes, I would tell you they got a lot of talent. Right now, they got a lot of backups playing with a few guys. I mean, look at the defense. Look at the guys that constantly make plays on defense. Who are they? Sealer, Phillips, Wilkins, Kohu, and what's it called? Damn it, the safety now. I'm brain farting. Forgetting my boy. Help me out there, Sean. Holland. That's it. Those are the guys. Every down. Like 99% of the downs. So if you're really talented, what happened to the other six guys? Like X made a play like at the end of the game when he batted down that pass from the sidelines. But outside of he's not making any plays that much. You know what I'm saying? So you're not really that talented. Why? Because you're that injured. Because Brandon Jones is not there. Talent. Nick Needham's not there. Talent. Byron Jones not there. Talent. Okay? Emmanuel Ogbah's not there. Talent. So that's the problem. So it's hilarious. Oh, well, because they've got so much talent. Yeah, no, you're not very smart. Buffalo fans are first class to opposing fans, very respectful. Never won anything. How can you be arrogant? No. Go to Jets. The Jets can be arrogant. They can be arrogant, and they haven't won anything. No, I'm saying overall, the Buffalo fans are pretty cool. I'm sure you'll have your back and forth and all that stuff, having some fun with it. But they're not like what you run into in the Eagles or out west, that somehow or another animals over out in California. I don't know what the hell is in the water in California. Seriously, I have no idea. They put each other in comas over there. I don't know what the hell goes on. Baseball, football, it doesn't matter. Those people fight about everything. I mean, they fight to the death over there. It's nuts. Holland actually graded lower. Lofia. I don't worry about grades. That's stupid. I don't care about that stuff. I don't listen to PFF. That is a whole bunch of crap, PFF. But it's a nice way to make money. Chris Collinsworth is making a killing with that BS way of measuring things. That's all right. The problem is we have way too many lazy people to actually watch the games. So they go back and read articles and stats and think that that's how you're going to keep up with it. Just watch the games, and Holland is playing a completely different type of position in a way. He's kind of, that's the problem. PFF doesn't take into account that Holland cannot be the same person anymore. Now he's got to be almost like a protection for everybody else. He's got to worry about so much more now that it just opens him up to so many other things that could end up happening bad on the defense, unfortunately. He's been put in a terrible position. But again, PFF doesn't take that into account. That's why that service sucks, Lofi. But if you guys want to follow that bullshit, you can go ahead and get suckered by all that stuff. To me, it doesn't, it's lazy following that, what they do there. Acid is in the water in California, Big O, what do you think about the Dolphins signing Matt Ryan as a backup next year? He wants to keep playing. He knows McDaniel. I don't mind Matt Ryan, but he's too old at this point. He cannot move around. His arm looks like it's lost, and it wasn't a strong arm as it is. No, I need something better and slightly younger than him. And by the way, it's definitely not Jimmy Garoppolo, because he's even more fragile. He's even more injury prone than Tua ever has been. Chad says, one of my best friends is a Bills fan. Great dude. Definitely a great and classy fan base when they are not jumping onto tables. Exactly. They're a pretty cool fan base outside of the morons that jump on tables. Those people are just flat out stupid. Big O has the right to his opinion, but if the doctors clear him to play, he should play, just like Pickett is playing. Why is Tua being treated differently? No one says anything about Pickett. Well, Pickett hasn't had 3. That's the difference. And I know that they only legally count 2, but are we all... Why are you doing that? Why are you counting 2? Why are you counting 2 with Tua? Why is it 2 with Tua? When you and I know you saw him wobble against the Bills. Problem is, that was the first one, and he was able to recover quickly. The second one came 4 days later. Fingers got gnarly. Third one comes even easier than the first 2, and guess what happens? He loses memory of what he's calling. He's throwing passes that are way late and looking completely lost. If you don't see the gradual, what's that called? Degrade his brain, his mind degrading with every one of them, I can't help you guys. I can't help you. The first one, they rung his bell. He got his concussion, but he shook it off. And the worst thing that happened was he got the second one 4 days later. And then look what happened with the third one. And look at the hit for the third one. It was a bullshit hit. No one should ever get concussed on that tackle. And he did. But that's fine, man. Listen, most of you don't give a shit about the human being. You don't care. You don't care. You don't care that maybe even he might not be as sharp as he possibly could be right now, even with the rest he had. You don't care. That's all. Just admit. At least tell me. Don't be a phony. Hey, I never believed in the kid anyway, so I want him to play. Hey, I always thought he was too short, didn't have an arm. Hey, he's always injury prone. I don't care. At least have the balls. Be honest. Be who you are. Don't be a phony. That's it. It's pretty simple. You want to avoid the facts? Just watch it gradually go downhill. Do whatever you want, but in the end, I know what's going on. Most of you that just want him to play, you don't care. And you're so blinded by trying to win one game, like this other idiot. Oh, they're so talented. They got half a team on the IR. Anyway, so you're so blinded by all this, you actually think like you got a shot at the Super Bowl or something. Whatever, man. You guys want to convince yourselves of this? You go ahead. I can only try to explain to you what I see, and if you don't see the same, you're entitled to it. Go ahead, go for it. I think it's a major mistake to allow him to play at all this season. Could it pay off for them? Hell yeah. Could you win on Sunday? Yes. Yeah. You got Tua, you got at least a fighting chance. Without Tua, forget about it. Teddy Bridgewater, give me a break. Healthy, whatever, 5 years ago, you ain't winning with Teddy Bridgewater. Skyler, God, he's so remedial at this point. It's not even, he has no business having any playing time whatsoever in the NFL. Zero. He should be a third quarterback that gets no playing time whatsoever. He's had more than enough time to show you that he has nothing so far. So he might show something a couple years from now or something, but right now, Skyler is, oh my God. Go find another young player that you can develop. Big O, what are your thoughts on Jameis Winston as a backup to Tua next year? That's not a bad one. That's not a bad one. Something's wrong with him because, like, people give up on that dude, like, right away. And he's got talent. And he was playing well with the Saints. It's the weirdest thing. But that's not bad because he's a pretty good player. He's got talent. And maybe, I don't know, maybe McDaniel can reach his ass. If you care about Tua, why would you ever want him to play again? I just explained the whole Sidney Crosby thing. See, that's the problem. You are now taking my comment and running with it somewhere else. I never said to retire. I never said any of that. I said give him proper time to heal. And he has not had, I believe, proper time to heal. I don't care what the damn neurologist says. And when they look at that and they see his brain functions and they're all normal, I'm sorry, man. I saw that third concussion and it happened really easy. I would hold off and give him some time and start again next year. That way, you give him a fresh start. Here, I think you're risking a lot more. But we'll see. Listen, the doctors don't know because they're all still learning about this. So they're guessing pretty much as we do. You know what I'm saying? And I'll go with the Nowinski guy that is a Harvard grad, a concussion expert. He's way smarter than I am, and he makes a fantastic case for what I'm saying, and that's why I'm leaning to what he says. Give Tua time to rest like Sidney Crosby has, who's had like 7 or 8 concussions in his career. Like, you would think Sidney Crosby's career, I know most of you don't follow hockey, but you would think that Sidney Crosby's career would have been over already. And yet somehow he has that concussion, and it's hockey, which there's collisions all the time, and yet he takes the time off for his brain to rest, recover from it before he takes the ice again. And I think that's the key. And Tua really has not had the proper time away to rest and recover, especially after what I think is now 3. You know, the Buffalo one, whatever, they didn't find it. They whatever. I don't care about that. Come on, man. The guy was wobbly. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. What else do we have? McDaniel hopefully learned from Shanahan. Shanahan ruined RG3's career. Well, that's Mike Shanahan, not Kyle Shanahan. But you know what happened there, right? You know the story, right? You got to know the story behind it. Mike Shanahan never wanted RG3. Mike Shanahan wanted Kirk Cousins. The owner wanted RG3. The owner forced the drafting of RG3. And then Mike Shanahan, because he did not believe in RG3, went and drafted Kirk Cousins in the 4th round out of Michigan State. That's the real story behind it. That's why. So that it was a little bit more personal. So that's why he left him out there, and then Haloti Ngata finished him off. The sound Big O just made about Teddy is the same noise I make when someone mentions PFF. I know. PFF is just an absolute joke. Let's see. Son of Liberty says, months ago, I was telling Big O Tua should not play in the Bengals game after the Bills hit. And Big O said, Tua will be fine. He's a tough kid. Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, nobody remembers what you said. Okay? Son of Liberty. So you could take credit for something that nobody knows about and nobody followed and nobody cares. So, but you said it, bro. Yeah, you said it. Oh, yeah. Ha, ha, ha. You said it. John says, Jesus, I grew up in Buffalo. Make sure you go to Bocce's, or is it Bocce's? Botches? Sounds like Bocce's Pizza on Bailey Avenue. Charlie the Butcher on Cayunga for beef on Weck. Okay. Penguins had had Malkin to lean on when Crosby was out. It doesn't matter what they had to lean on. The bottom line is they still allowed him to recover, which has been the key for him to having a long career. Big O, I would rather have Gardner or the Red Rifle over Winston as a backup. The Red Rifle is not bad as a backup. That's what he is. That's a good backup to have. You know, Andy Dalton's a weak-ass starter, but as a backup, that's not bad. And his arm is strong enough Doesn't have a great arm, but he has enough to do what you need to do in that offense. Yeah, that's not a bad one, actually. That's it, because he's a good kid overall. He's a pro's pro. So, yeah. Minshew is like Minshew's a guy that as a backup, I like him too. As a starter, he's probably a mediocre starter like Dalton. So that's not bad also. Gardner Minshew. And he's fun. So that's a good thing. You got a colorful backup. Oh, what's your favorite sub shop in South Florida? Oh, God. Las Patas. Well, it has to be Las Patas. I'm trying to think of I'm not going to tell you Subways or Jersey Mike's or what's it, Johnny whatever, Jimmy John's, whatever. No, La Spada is probably the one I like in South Florida, I would say. They do a very good job. Jose says, you ready for the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl in a few weeks? Oh, yeah. I am as prepared as they get for the Super Bowl. We've got a house in Arizona. We got a party ready to go. It is a beautiful thing, I got to tell you. So, yes, we are ready to win the Super Bowl. Skylar Thompson is going to take the Dolphins to the Super Bowl. Skylar this week will start against the Bills, throw for 477 yards, 5 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill will have 210 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. And Waddle will have another 100 yards and a touchdown. And Mike Gesicki will have 75 and a touchdown. Because now Mike McDaniel is using Mike Gesicki because, he figured out, well, I might as well use him now that I have nothing else left on my team. Although we do have one guy that thinks the team is loaded, of course. The chicken tender sub from Publix is, those are good too. Those are good too, but I'm not taking Publix over La Spada. That's criminal. Criminal. What is a great sub shop in South Florida? What is a great sub shop in Mobile, Alabama? What is a great sub shop in Indianapolis when I go for the combine? I mean, I know Indy pretty well. I've never really done the sub stuff in Indy. And I do love subs. So maybe somebody can tell me one in Indy. Forget about I don't even know if we have anybody watching in Mobile, Alabama right now. But if we do, welcome aboard. I'll see you soon. I'll be there at the end of the month. I agree with your take on Las Patas. They make great, enormous subs. Yeah, their subs are awesome. Their bread's delicious. They do a good job. Hungry Bear across from Miami-Dade Community College. You mean the one on Killian? Hungry Bear? Isn't that like one of those what's that called? Franchises? LOL, the crazy predictions. Hey, man, what? You don't believe that Thompson's going to throw for like 500 yards this week? Come on. You got to have some faith, bro. The light is going to go on. Skylar Thompson's going to make Pat Mahomes look like a minor leaguer this week. That's what's going to happen. Come on. You got to have faith. Isn't that what the fan says when they lie to themselves? Jersey Mike's is very good for a massive chain. I'll tell you this, Jimmy John's has my favorite oatmeal cookies right now. Now that the Brothers Market, what the hell's the name of that on 87th Avenue, closed down right after in between Sunset and Miller, right? I think it is, or Sunset and Kendall Drive. Whatever, what is it called? The something Brothers. They closed down. Those people made the best oatmeal cookies on the planet. Oh, God, I love that place. Sub-Serious still around? I don't know. If you're asking, it can't be that good. because you haven't gone back to find out if it's still around. Cerrusi's. Yeah, years ago. I don't know about now. Well, the one on Bird Road is still good. That one I can tell you because I know the people there. So they do that one I know for sure, the Cerrusi's on it. Nelson says the best sub I make is the one at home with Boar's Head's cold cuts from Publix Deli. You guys are a trip. All right, so we got Dolphins and Bills. Tua not cleared yet. He is working out, so that's good. Did you guys see Arian Foster? These players, sometimes it's funny with players because they look at things through a very interesting prism. And sometimes it's a prism of ignorance. Now, Arian Foster, I know that he's a guy that maybe both oars don't hit in the water sometimes. Maybe the elevator doesn't climb to the top floor all the time. But anyway, so there, Damar Hamlin, right? Bleacher Report tweets out that his 4-year, $3.64 million contract with the Bills contains terms that means he'd be paid less if he was on injured reserve. Hamlin was placed on IR this week, but the Bills worked out an agreement with the NFL and the NFLPA to pay him fully, which is the decent thing to do because obviously the man is going through a serious medical issue. So Arian Foster retweets, gotta almost die for them to do the right thing. LOL. And, I found it funny because I retweeted back to him and I wanted him to know because, again, it's just a wrong way of looking at it. So let me see if does this come out when I switched over? Okay, there it is. Okay, good. So I tweeted back to Arian. I don't think I've heard back yet. I haven't looked, but I put bigger issue. The players get smoked in negotiations for every CBA. Maybe the players need to be as tough in the negotiation room as they are on the field. Can't complain about something you agree to. And so, that's where I would tell Arian Foster, my man, you're full of shit. Plus, you're not even in the league anymore. Okay? You guys want more monies and more? Well, then hold out, man. When you have a CBA and you need to negotiate, well, then take a hardline stance. If you agree to a contract and you agreed that this is how it's going to work, that's your problem, dumbass. So NFL players can never, ever complain about their contracts, about the way it's negotiated, about the way that the league has a stranglehold on them and they do whatever the hell they want and players are at their mercy. Well, dude, baseball's not like that. Basketball's not like that. It's up to you. You need to negotiate better deals for your players. Now, if you all are too stupid, too ignorant, too selfish, because selfishness is the top problem for all NFL players. Do you know why? The average life of an NFL player is 3 to 4 years. So guess what? When they go to the negotiation tables, none of them give a shit about the long term. Now, the superstars that are going to be in the league 10, 15 years, they're trying to tell some of the guys, hey, we got to, hold out for this, for long term. But since most of these guys are only here for 3 or 4 years, they have this blind eye approach to, no, I just want my money right now. And little do you know that if you take a hardline stance, some people are going to pay a price. Things are going to happen that might be ugly in these negotiations. But eventually, if you break the league, which if the real talent doesn't end up going to the NFL and you end up with scrubs, you will kill the league. And the league knows that. But the problem is the players are not strong enough to hold out. So they give in, and they always give in So if your contract now says that if you're on the IR, I can cut you, I can pay you less, you shouldn't have agreed to that. That's your fault, Arian Foster, and every other player that has played in the NFL. Stop being the owner's bitch. Okay? Don't blame the owners, blame yourselves. Look at yourselves in the mirror. You have shitty leadership, and that's why you're constantly in this position. It's hilarious to hear players complain about deals that they agree to. That sounds so stupid. It's incredible. Have the balls. Stand up to them. Cutter's Edge Pro. Go to cuttersedgepro.com. Check out the website. Cutter's Edge Pro on Instagram. Will, Mike, all the great people. They do amazing work. 954-472-0622. Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties, folks. They are your total landscape solution, from lawns and landscape maintenance, from medium to large HOAs, condominiums, corporate parks, large commercial building complexes in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. And let me tell you, I'm living it. I see it every day. When you redo your home, and if you have just plain old landscape and just some grass there or whatever, it's a whole different ballgame when you really start to add some trees and flowers and bushes and all kinds of stuff, and maybe even artificial turf. If you have dogs like I do, the artificial turf is just amazing. But you take the value of your home to another level. And then when you can create an oasis in your backyard, then guess what you're going to do? You're going to hang out more in your backyard. And that's one of the things my wife and I like to do now. We get to hang out in our backyard, something we rarely did for years and years and years, because the backyard had nothing but grass there where the dogs would run and do their business and come back in, and that's it. Now we actually hang out there. We got several trees, we got shade, we got a little a putting green, we got the artificial turf, so everything is really easy to manage. The dogs never bring any dirt, anything into the home. It drains so easily. We got a little, porch in the back where we get to hang out. It is a cool thing, man. And that's it just adds, you're paying for the whole mortgage. It's not just the rooms in your home. You're paying for the yard too. So use it, man. Call the great people at Cutter's Edge Pro. They can design it for you. Tree trimming and removals, synthetic turf, which you're going to love that. The irrigation. They got it all. Outdoor lighting, landscaping, you name it. They do it. Go to cuttersedgepro.com. Ask for William or Mike. Tell them that Big O sent you. 954-472-0622. Anywhere in South Florida, take your home, take your business, take your condominium complex to the next level with cuttersedgepro.com. All right. Big O, we don't care. Let's talk Fins. We don't care about artificial turf. Well, Lamb D, I don't care about what you care about. All right, my brother? Because without them, there is no show, you dumbass. You can take Lamb D out too there. Some of you are just stupid and ignorant. Now Lamb D gets blocked for being a dumbass. There is no show, you idiot, without Sloman's, without Acura, without Hialeah Park. There is no show. There are no insiders. ¿Qué clase come mierda tú eres, brother? Some of you are just plain stupid. And stupidity is not accepted on this platform. And neither is ignorance. So the key is that you support the show, you support the sponsors. That's how the show grows. How do you think I'm going to the Senior Bowl at the end of the month, you dumbass? Who do you think is paying for it? Red Recover and Sports Grill and Acura Pembroke Pines. How am I going to go to the Combine? How am I going to go talk to general managers and scouts and coaches? What's wrong with you? So if I talk about artificial turf, Support it, asshole. Aleman goes, I knew that was coming. I mean, it's just some of you people, you think I do this for a hobby? I'm a professional. I get paid to do this. Okay? I'm not a former player that they hand you a job and whatever, and you just come in half-ass. I don't have daddy or mommy's inheritance or something. Okay? I got to work for a living, dude. And we got to produce. That's it. Wake up, dude. Wake up. Big O, why do you even feel the need to explain to the 0.1%? Because, George, they need to learn the lesson. That way they get blocked. They never, ever chime in again. They got to open another email account if they want to chime in. But it's just, by the way, it's not even 0.1%. George, you're giving way too much credit to people out there. It's a much larger percentage than that. Okay? Much larger percent. They don't really realize this is a business. They don't. They're really stupid. People like that are just stupid. So, yeah, no. It's a lot more than 0.1%, bro. I don't know about 50, Eric, but it's a lot, man. There's a lot of people out there. They don't realize it. There, a donation from D Wolverines. That helps. Visiting redrecover.com, which, by the way, their wraps right now are 50% off. Freaking awesome. The one for the feet, my wife loves because she's a teacher standing all day. Thing is awesome. Obviously, the one for the shoulder has helped her in the knee, but those things are 50% off. Take advantage. Alexa says, ban that clown. Of course I'm going to ban that clown. I don't need people like that on the platform. Forget that. You can now watch if you want. Now you don't get to comment. Why? Because your comments are stupid. They don't help us. You know, you're here to support us, not make things harder for us. D Wolverines 305 Big O. I'm not going to lie. When you go off, it makes my day. I'm sitting here laughing in the office. LOL. Just know you're making a difference in life. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, I just don't have a lot of patience for stupidity. Too many people think I'm doing this for a hobby. I get it, bro. There's a lot of fans that have YouTube websites and they come on and all that. And, they just spew stuff and they talk. But this is not what that is. This is actually a real sports show. It's what it is, And there's we only care about football. Well, guess what? I love football too. It's a centerpiece of it. But we're going to talk about other things. We're going to talk about all the other sports. Sometimes life, sometimes crypto. We're going to talk about all kinds of music. It's going to be things that subs. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. Let's see. Big O, I'm calling for oil. Paul in Connecticut. Thank you. Fins up. Should I go to the game? Hell yeah, go to the game in Buffalo. Forget about winning or losing, bro. Go to support your team. Go for the experience. Okay? We all know. Let's not kid ourselves. Don't go in there with an attitude like Skyler and Teddy are going to take us to the title. No. But go in there to support, have some fun. Bills fans are going to be cool. Just go in there and go have fun, man. That's it. If Tua plays, we got a shot. Man, something tells me he's going to play. They didn't rule him out. He talked about him working out and putting a sweat. I love how McDaniel, I'm not going to get in too much about, asking and influencing. But, I saw he was working out. He was at the stadium. I think he's going to get cleared. I think tomorrow you're going to see him do some light workouts. I think he's going to end up playing if he's cleared. Now, I'm not saying that I would do it, but I'm just telling you, this is how this sport is. Technically, they'll look at it as 2 concussions and all that stuff. And so I just wouldn't be surprised if he's playing. So think about this. If you go to the Bills game, you went to a Dolphins playoff game. Super cool. We don't know when it's going to happen. I mean, I think now with McDaniel and company, I think we're going to get there more often. But, hopefully the kind of luck they had this year, I hope that disappears. Jesus Christ. Please, somebody help us next year with luck and the injuries. Way too many injuries. But you get the experience of going to a playoff game. That is super cool. You get to go to a playoff game in Buffalo, right? Great atmosphere, fanatical human beings that follow them. And then we don't know if Tua's going to play. So you go for the experience, you support your team. Okay, they lose, you move on. Big deal. At least they made the playoffs and finished with a winning record. All right, cool. But what if Tua does play? And you already, once they activate him and say he's going to play, it's going to be too late to buy your tickets and be there, right? So you might as well go because, one, you'll have the experience of going to a game, but two, the outside that Tua does play, ooh, doggy, then that becomes special. So I would love to go to if I had the money, I would easily go to the Buffalo game myself. Okay? If I had the money, for sure I'd go up to the Buffalo game myself. Why not, man? Go experience it. Go have some fun. Who cares? Carlos Segarro, look at the bell curve. It's between 12.5% and 25%. What's the bell curve? Is that thing with the concussion thing? What is he talking about? Okay, well, what is it? What bell curve? Where am I looking at this? What are we talking about? Help me out, Sean. It went over me here on this one. My bad, my ignorance.
Talking about the number of fans that don't understand, it was 0.1. You said it was higher.
Oh,
so
yes.
He's going off that.
Oh, okay. I got you. Very good. Yes, agree. Big O, some of these people continue to test your patience and they are ignorant to what your show is all about. I'm sure they know there's no nonsense that is acceptable from you in this forums community. I mean, it's just ridiculous to be like, jamming my sponsors when that's the reason we're here. It's like, understand, dude, the idea of having a show that barely has any commercials in an hour, every hour, always content on demand for you, great insiders. Come on, man. Nick Peligi says, here's a donation in hopes that you can call that guy dumb one more time. Well, that guy is a freaking dumbass, okay? Our sponsors and our supporters are the foundation of this show. There you go, Nick. Just for you. True Fin Fan 78 says, why can't some people just listen and realize that your passion for this team represents some of us real fans? You could talk about farts. I'll listen. Okay, as long as you don't smell, right? I mean, you don't want to smell the farts, but you can talk about farts. Fart game is fun. I gotta say the fart game is fun. Back in the day when my daughter was a child and we'd be going to Disney World or something, you lock the windows. That's it. Wife, daughter. Oh no. You're laughing. Yep. That's the moments you don't want to talk about the farts. You want to talk about the farts. You don't want to smell the farts. But they ended up smelling the farts. So, you got to hotbox them. Have you hotboxed anybody ever, Sean? You don't look like a guy that would hotbox people. You're too nice. Yeah, no, not me. I'm a cruel son of a bitch. I'm hotboxing you. Definitely. What else do we have here? Big O, you are the foundation of the show. Your sponsors are your arena, and we, the listeners, are your mosh pit. I like it. All right. As long as you guys mosh all over that guy that chimed in about the sponsors. Okay. Foundation surrounded by artificial turf, says Lofi. Big O, I'm going to Buffalo taking your advice of just enjoying the mini vacation and the experience and not worrying about stressing the game. Exactly, dude. And Jesus, bro, if Tua plays, you're going to be jacked to the sky. Because we all know if Tua plays, you got at least a fighting chance. It's the beauty. By the way, we've talked for an hour and 8 minutes straight. Let me take a 2-minute break, even if that guy does not appreciate it, right here on the Big O Radio Show on the Sports Talk 305 network.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house!
Get out of the house! Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
We are back, baby. Hour number 2, already into hour number 2. And appreciate all of you out there hanging in there. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. By the way, talk about fans, okay? And I love you guys, all right? Most of you, of course. But some of you, okay, you're not right in the head, okay? Now, listen, I'm not right in the head probably. But one guy goes to me, because, Raheem Mostert has a thumb injury, fractured thumb. So it's done pretty much. So some guy goes to me, well, can Raheem Mostert numb his thumb? So I go to the guy, so you want him to numb the thumb. What do you think happens then? Is he going to be able to actually hold on to the football? Have you ever played the game? Do you know how important that thumb is? And he goes, all right, now I think about it. Yeah, you're right. Fans want players to go to extremes that aren't even reasonable. He should numb his thumb. Like, what? Have you ever numbed anything? Do you notice that you can't feel anything? Oh, man. I love that. You guys are a trip. Do you think that the Chesapeake Sherman will sell anytime soon? I don't know what the hell the Chesapeake Sherman is, Troy. NorCal says, my best fart ever was crop dusting a carload in a Mazda before my class, my junior year. Had the whole car on concussion protocol all week. But wait a minute. Hold on a second. NorCal, you're in a car. Let's get the phrases right now, okay? Crop dusting is if you're like, okay, you go to the fridge, go get a beer. You're sitting on this side of the couch, and there's two other of your friends on this side of the couch. You come from the refrigerator, okay? One guy sitting on the couch solo, two on the large couch. You're on the large couch on the right side. You grab your beer, you walk by, and then you drop the silent when you start on your first guy, and you keep going all the way across. And then you sit down. And then they all get the whiff. And that is crop dusting. It's really hard to crop dust in a car unless you literally got up, put your face into the seat, and then use your ass to go all the way around the car like this or something. You know what I'm saying? So what you did was you hotboxed people. So hotboxing is when you lock the windows, everybody's in, you hotboxed, okay? Or bed sheets. You trap, your loved one in the bed under the bed sheets, and then you hotbox them or something. I don't know. It's different ways of doing it. But when you trap them to smell, it's the hotbox. When you cruise by them, that's crop dusting. Okay. Joseph says, Big O, I feel your pain as a Dolphins fan. Well, that's feel my pain as a Marlins fan, a Dolphins fan, a Canes fan. Okay. Inters hasn't been around for me to have any pain. Oh, Panthers fan. Oh, my God. I've got a lot of pain from Panthers. The Panthers give me a ton of pain. Wow. Whew. The Heat is the only one that never really – we have a couple little downs, but it's usually mostly great overall with the Heat. The Heat are just, they spoil us pretty much. Chemical warfare, says Cap for Life. That's exactly what it is. The number 8 formation crop duster is lethal, bro. Wow. If you can pull an 8, that's like a long one, too. Renee says, Big O, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Skynet time and get a neck warmer ready for Glennon. Dutch oven in the bed sheets. Ah, there we go. So We hotbox them in a car. We Dutch oven them in the bed. Okay, I got you. All right, we're good with that. I can go with that. That's not a bad one. Ooh, Danny Wimmer sending me the latest in. Oh, I'm sorry, that guy. I'm going to talk about music now. The Sonic Temple Arts and Music Festival, May 25 through the 28th in 2023 in Columbus, Ohio. Thursday, Tool and Godsmack are your headliners. Bullet for My Valentine, Pennywise, Suicidal Tendencies, Fever 333. Let me see what other ones that those are, and then a bunch of other bands on Thursday. And then Friday, Avenged Sevenfold, Queens of the Stone Age are your headliners. Chevelle is there also that day. Dorothy. Ooh, I love Dorothy. Bad Flower. I'm a big Dorothy fan. She's fantastic, man. Really talented. Saturday, Kiss and Rob Zombie. I thought they were retiring. This is 2023, and they're still there, huh? Let's see. Pussifer, Trivium, Black Veil Brides, Rival Sons. Love Rival Sons. Woo. This is actually not a bad Dead Poets Society. They're pretty good. I've seen them. Then Sunday, it's Foo Fighters and Deftones as your headliners. Sublime with Rome, The Pretty Reckless, AOL Nation. Not bad, man. New Year's Day. Okay. They put on a good show New Year's Day. And that woman can sing. Maria Blink, I think it is her name. That's not bad for you folks in Columbus, Ohio. That's a pretty good one. I like it. Let's see. Big O, we used to call hotboxing under the sheets playing tent with wifey. Big O, who's worst as a starter? Liam at guard or Skyler at QB? Oh, I'm going to go Skyler. Skyler was so mediocre this week. God, the best thing he did that he didn't turn it over. You know what I mean? But we're pretty fortunate. Yeah, Trivium is good, Uncle Grandpa. I like Trivium. I'm with you. J-Town says, y'all just jumping on 400 plus, watching only 106 likes. Smash it up. That's right. Smash it up, please. Only 106 likes. Come on, man. Let's go. We got 400 watching. Smash it. I don't know why it's so hard for people to help us. Like, let's say maybe at the moment you don't have any money to visit one of our sponsors. Maybe you can't make a donation to the show. Maybe you can't visit us at a live event, right? There's, different ways you're listening. Another way of sponsoring us is obviously subscribing and hitting that like button. That like button is very important. It gets like the algorithms going, and more people that like it sends the show out to more people in the search engines. So it's very, very important that we do that. Renee says, Big O, Eric Fisher and Armstead activated would be huge. No. Eric Fisher's done for the year. He was placed on the IR. He's gone. They have all those other guys. Armstead, he plays the Tua games. That's all I can tell you. It doesn't seem to be a coincidence. If Tua plays this week, I think Armstead will suck it up and play it. I'm dead serious. He hasn't been put on any IR. He was just inactive. Eric Fisher was put on IR. He is done. I love Skyler, but he holds on to the ball because he can't read defenses. He doesn't read defenses quickly. You can tell right away. He waits for things to develop for him to then throw it. It's not there. It's really raw at this point. If I could find a more talented young guy, I would do it in a heartbeat this offseason. Okay? And because of Tua's situation, I think it behooves you to try to find something else as an option just in case. Okay? It's hard to find a guy like Tua that can sling the ball the way he can. But because of the injury history, unfortunately, you have to try to protect the team as much as possible. The only positive about all of this for the Dolphins, that is, not for anything else, because there's nothing positive about Tua getting injured, but there'll be no contract negotiations. There'll be no commitment to long-term contracts right now. And, hopefully the Chubb one works out, because right now it looks like a terrible contract and a terrible, trade, because he has so underperformed. So it's a shame. But we'll wait till next year and we'll see how Chubb comes back, and who knows what happens. And hopefully he can, start to shine and play at the level that he's supposed to play. Hate Big O says, not one more commercial, not one word about crypto or music. You got it. We'll do that right away. Big O on target on Skyler. You want him to succeed. You like the kid, but I think I've seen enough to say this project is way too raw at this point. And it's a good lesson for all of us. So you don't get too excited about preseason performances. Big O, screw PFF. Holland is rated awful, and it's not his fault. He's doing everything. It's totally different than what he was doing last year. That's why we need Brandon Jones, people, of course, and Nick Needham. He's got to worry about everything now. It's a whole different responsibility now that he has. Kind of takes away from his game. That's why the whole PFF thing is so bogus. Some defensive end can have a great week, and then he played mostly against backup tackles. And it's not graded on a curve that he played against shitty tackles. It just doesn't take into account the situations, the real players that you're facing, injuries, whatever, all kinds of stuff that just affects what's going. Defensive rankings for the look, the Heat, I don't think are a great defensive team. Okay. I've seen great Heat defensive teams. This is not one of them. Okay. But let me ask you something. Is it fair to measure Caleb at the power forward position? No. But I'm sure they have some ratings, and I bet he sucks. Because how in the hell is he going to be any good defensively when he's undersized the way he is? Unless you're Alonzo Mourning, that you're like this freak 6'10" center that can play with everybody else, except for maybe Shaq, who can bulldoze everybody at 330 pounds. But outside of that, man, he blocked everybody's shot that was bigger than him. Now, Zoe was a freak of all freaks. His anticipatory skills to block a shot was golden. He knew how to block a shot and keep it in bounds. I mean, just everything about Zoe defensively was perfect. He just knew how to play the game the right way, right? But you look at the stats, it's unfair right now to Caleb. And so when you have all of these things going on, it kind of skews the numbers. And to me, that's my problem with the whole PFF system, is that there's so much that skews numbers, like what Javon Holland has to do now. When he gets Brandon Jones back and he gets a real slot cornerback, then he's going to feel good. I'll tell you what I do feel good is that Cater is growing more and more and more to playing on the opposite side of X. And that's one thing I really like. He holds a little too much still, he gets called for a couple holds here and there. But overall, he's a good player, man. And he's young, and to play at the level he's played out of Division II, God, I am impressed. I am incredibly impressed. Nick Needham is one of the better slot corners in the NFL. Miami will bring him back if he's recovered fully from the injury. I'm sure they will. Every QB gets hurt with our O-line. Fix the damn O-line. That's a lazy take, Uncle Grandpa. That has nothing to do with it. Actually, the line has done a really good job of giving these quarterbacks time to pass the ball. Has nothing to do with the O-line, really, that they're getting killed and all that kind of stuff. When Tua got hurt, it's 5 seconds holding the ball. That has nothing to do with the O-line. What do you want, 10 seconds? It's 2.8 seconds. Get rid of the football. That's how they practice. They practice with a 2.8 second clock. Can't take 5. That has nothing to do with the offensive line whatsoever. Pay attention, watch the game, Grandpa. I don't know, maybe it's your vision, Grandpa. Maybe. Big O, what about Stetson Bennett as Tua's backup? Is he a senior? I forgot now. Or is he a junior? Because I don't know why I was thinking. I will admit, I didn't watch much of the game yesterday. So I'd be lying to you if because I'm sure they mentioned it there. Let's see. Where is it here? Here we go. Stetson Bennett. Oh, he's a senior. So he's out. I wonder if I probably will see him in Mobile. I don't know where he's going to go in the draft. That's the one thing we gotta see. I gotta find out. But he's done a pretty good job there. So who knows? He's 25. You guys are saying? Let me see. I'll tell you right now. I brought up his bio. He is. Where is it? Here it is. Bio. And why doesn't it have his birth year here? No birth year here. Let me go over here then. Yeah, he's 25, born October 29th of 97. So there you go. So he'll be 26 headed into next season. Man, he's an old man. Yeah, that's not that. Now he's probably not going to go in the first round, right? Probably will be a second or third rounder. Again, you know what? One of the things that I'm really happy about this year with the Dolphins, I've done nothing on the draft. And normally, halfway through the season, I'm already preparing for the draft. I'm already calling people and stuff, and I have not done nothing. Nothing whatsoever. And I probably won't until towards the end of the month when I go to the Senior Bowl. Then I'll start to look into the draft a little bit more and start to get some news for you guys out there, and we'll see what ends up happening. But, yeah, draft-wise, Bennett could be an option for them, I would imagine. Again, I need to ask to find out where, where he's going to end up going. And that's the one thing that I don't know. Bryce Young, obviously, is going to be the guy. And the Kentucky kid, right, is another guy. Stroud from Ohio State is another guy that I think is going to go. Richardson, where does he go? Because he's super gifted. I almost get the feeling with Anthony Richardson that somebody will take him in the first round just to have that extra year to work with his talent, because his talent is so sick that, he would go there. Where's Hendon Hooker going to go with that knee injury? Is he going to make it into the first round? Will he go into the second round? These are the things that I don't know. Cam Ward, kid out of Washington State. Again, I think that would be like a second or a third rounder, probably. I just have to find out about Bennett. I don't know too much about Bennett and see where he's going to go, but I don't think it's going to be an early pick in the draft. So the BYU kid, right? The Hall kid, that's another guy that could have. You think the TCU kid is going to also get drafted, Max Duggan? So yeah, there's a couple of guys out there and guys that could be projects for them in the second, third, and fourth rounds. Wait a minute, do they have a fourth rounder? No, right? I think they have a second and a third. I gotta look it up. Let me look it up here for you guys. Let me look up. See if I can find that for you guys. Well, you know what? We got Manny Navarro. Give me a second here, and let's get to Manny Navarro. I'll get that information for you guys on the other side. Let's find out what the Canes are doing, baby, with Manny Navarro and our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right. There he is, locked and loaded. Where you at? Where you hanging at?
I'm at the Charlotte Convention Center where the AFCA, Football Coaches Association, meetings are taking place. Been here since Sunday, chit-chatting with coaches and recruiting people. And right outside the building where there's like 75, 80 college football head coaches right now.
Have they decided to just cancel the 2023 season and just hand the championship to Georgia again?
I think so. I think that's inevitably what's going to happen here. I mean, I don't know how anybody can be confident. Maybe just Alabama, probably just Alabama, that they can play on the field with Georgia. So.
Shit, did you see Nick Saban eating his liver right on the air as David Pollock saying, well, Georgia's taking over college football.
Yeah.
And Saban's like, you son of a bitch.
The highlight of the night. That was the highlight of the night, to be honest. That was the only good thing to come of last night.
Yeah, that was awesome, dude. And I mean, it's not like David Pollock was lying. I mean, you know, they had to have the amount of people they had drafted last year and then just reload and go back and dominate a season. That's impressive, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what happens when you stack, top 5 recruiting class after top 5 recruiting class after top 5 recruiting class, and then you get some transfers, 1 or 2 to come in that are elite players elsewhere that want to come play because they want to win a championship. That's what happens. I mean, look, it's a very small group of people that can honestly win the national championship. TCU had a great run, but as you and I talked about, it's hard to play 2 great games back to back. And they played their best game of their lives against Michigan and barely won. And they walked into that game and were just completely outclassed. And what's funny was, talking to a bunch of coaches and people yesterday before the game, we're all like, yeah, Georgia's going to win decisively. And sure enough, it was the biggest blowout in bowl history.
Yeah, man, 65-7, dude. I felt like I was in Jacksonville again watching Marino's last game.
Reminded me of Miami, Washington, 65-7 in the Orange Bowl.
Yes. Yeah, that one was ugly too. That one was that was a bad moment there too for the Canes. All right, so is Cristobal there?
He is not. He is sitting in front of his coaching staff right now as we speak in Coral Gables. There were some meetings today. Some coaches who were out on vacation that were told to come back in and to have conversations. So we'll see what happens. As I told you last week, on the show, and people who tune in regularly to us, that I think there will be changes to the staff in some regard. What those changes are, who they are, all those other things, we'll see. As we know, Mario likes to operate at a snail's pace when it comes to coaching. The NFL season just ended. Playoffs are set to begin. Movement will start happening with NFL coaches, and there's a trickle-down effect in college. And so I think Miami fans have to just get used to the fact that when movement and change happens at Miami, it doesn't happen at a lightning quick pace.
Okay, and are you expecting? Is it just one change or two, or several?
It's hard to tell. To be honest, the person who I spoke with last week said, and I know they would know, okay, because they're in charge of a lot of things over there. my understanding is there will be some changes. Now, whether that's across the board, I think some of it depends on whether guys really want to go or they negotiate a way to stay, and Mario is okay with giving him another opportunity. So, it's just meetings. Things are going to happen. Conversations about changes are going to happen. And I think that's the way to sort of approach this thing, that it's in the process.
How are they attacking that quarterback position for next year? What's going to be the breakdown there?
Well, I mean, listen, you hope that Tyler Van Dyke is upright and healthy, right? I don't think that they are afraid about any long-term injuries to his shoulder, despite the fact that he looked pretty horrible at the end of the season throwing the football. I think the feeling was he was playing hurt, but there's no long-term issues there with his shoulder. So I think, they expect him to come back and be the guy and to play behind a better offensive line. And hopefully, if they're able to pull it off here, get a receiver via the transfer portal that can be a true number one, help stretch the field the way Charleston Rambo did a couple of years ago, and help make this offense a lot better than it is.
They haven't added a quarterback at all, right, so far in recruiting?
Well, they signed Emory Williams, who is he's a 3-star kid out of the Panhandle, out of Milton, Florida, but he's one of these very underrated kids, not very popular on the recruiting websites because he didn't go to a lot of camps. He was a kid that went to the Elite 11, and I think he finished third among all the quarterbacks there in their little point system in terms of their skill set and everything else. So he may not have the high ranking, but the people who were at the Elite 11 camp, the quarterbacks and the quarterback gurus that I spoke very highly of him and think that he's a quote-unquote steal for Miami.
Well, because I kind of feel like, it's a lot like what I've been talking about with the Tua situation that, okay, he had the injuries. Now this year it's been about concussions, but it's about something with him, unfortunately. So next year you got to have a better plan B than Teddy B. So I kind of feel the same thing for the Canes. That I think you got to have a better plan B than what you currently have right now, because one kid's too raw and the other kid Jake doesn't look like he has it, bro. So you got to find somebody that, if this kid doesn't fit, I don't know if this guy Gaddis is going to be here, if he's not or whatever, or who the next coordinator is. He's inheriting a quarterback. I think it's very important for them to also have a quarterback that they do feel fits whatever system that they are trying to implement.
Well, I agree with you. I think, that's a position that you still watch with a keen eye here. I think the most important thing that you need to remember, and we all have to get adjusted to this, is the transfer window goes into the summer, basically. Okay, after post-spring. So there are going to be guys after spring who enter the transfer portal who say, I'm not competing for a job here. I'd like to change addresses and go somewhere else. And the one thing you got to remember, too, for Miami is right now, Tyler Van Dyke is still the guy, and that's still the message that I think is out there in terms of the public, right? Other quarterbacks. If Miami didn't have a quarterback, if Tyler Van Dyke had gone pro and you had Jake Garcia and Jakari Brown, and those are the two guys coming back, there's no question in my mind that there would be this would be a destination job for a lot of quarterbacks that are proven and have done well. But that's not the case for Miami. And I think depending on what happens here after spring football, we'll see whether or not they decide to add a quarterback to this roster.
Yeah, that's. I hope that they're able to attack that the way they're supposed to, because they've got to do something about that position just in case things don't go well with Tyler. All right, recruiting wise, apparently some new additions.
Yeah, went out and right at the point of attack, right at the line of scrimmage, you get a new center in Matthew Lee, a kid who was a 3-year starter at UCF. I think the third highest rated starting center according to Pro Football Focus. So,
wait a minute, hold on a second. He's leaving a championship program like UCF.
Who's going to the Power 5, right? They're going to the Big 12.
Yeah, I'm just kind of, I'm just trying to, understand this.
Right.
Because we all know UCF is, a multi-championship type program. They've won all these titles. They're elite of elite. And I'm just surprised that he would leave a championship program to come to Coral Gables.
Stunning as it may be, the Canes have gone out and gotten themselves another really good, experienced interior lineman who is going to start right next to Javion Cohen, the Alabama
Great
pickup.
job by Manny.
Must
have taken a lot to convince him to leave UCF.
Well, this is the one thing that I think Miami fans can certainly get used to. They're going to have better offensive linemen, right? Like we said that was going to happen. Now it's finally happening, right? Like they're a year in, and everybody's like, yeah, I want to go play for Mario and Alex Mirabal, right? I want to go play for those two guys. And so now they're just getting the talent in here, and they got to show out. I think, look, they're going to be a better team up front. Does that mean they're going to win 9, 10, 11 games? I still don't believe that. I think they still need to get a wide receiver.
Oh, yeah, the weapons are, yes.
There's the tight end, Elijah Arroyo, coming off of injury. He's taking over from Mallory. He's got a lot of talent. I like Jaleel Skinner. Jaleel Skinner still needs to add another 20 pounds to his body so he can actually stay healthy and do the things you need him to do. So there's areas that they have to progress, but the offensive line will be better. And then yesterday they went out and they got this defensive tackle who's also a 3-year starter from Purdue. And Purdue, if you remember, I think they made the Big Ten championship game, had a pretty good defense. Good, man. Yeah, so, they a kid who's 6'2", 280, he's bigger than the kid they got from Georgia State who's 6 foot, 270, more of a speed rusher rotation guy that comes in and will probably spell a Leonard Taylor in the pass rush. But, this guy will start and replace Darrell Jackson at the defensive tackle position. And so right up front, again, Mario addressing the offensive and defensive lines. And, oh, by the way, if you watched last night's game, I mean, I know Georgia has Brock Bowers and they got some receivers and all that, but, up front is where it starts, man. You got to really be dominant if you're going to win.
And that's what I love. If you beef up the O-line and the D-line, that is going to make your life so much easier as an offense, period. Know, so and even as a defense also. I'm with you all the way. I love that. And they shouldn't have that much trouble getting some of these skill position guys. I guess the next level is showing that you have a sexy offense, right? And then I think they really start pouring in, correct?
Yeah, you got to get to 30 points a game here. If you can do that, you get back into the 30s, and you have some playmakers. You have some of these receivers make some big plays for you, and the running backs you're averaging close to 200 yards a game rushing. You can start to attract people to come play for your program that are elite skill players. And again, they picked up 2 good receivers in this recruiting class, but they're undersized guys. You need the 6'4", 6'3", 200-pound outside threat that's gonna really,
NFL.
expand your field, right? And
you need an NFL receiver, bro, is what you're saying.
You need one of those guys, and you need a tight end, that does what Brock Bowers does in the middle of the field and just is a disruption, Will Mallory, I love the kid. Will Mallory's a great kid as far as person, but he was kind of an average tight end at Miami. He was okay. He
did a good job last year. I got to give him some love. He played well.
He got better than he did the year before, but I'm saying there were so many ups and downs. He was not Jeremy. He wasn't Jeremy Shockey. He was
no, he's not special. But he was solid.
He was a solid kid, and those are shoes. It's not easy to be one of those guys in college football.
He's Alfredo Roberts, bro. He was
correct.
Solid.
Correct. You want a special guy, but you want a special guy in the middle of the field.
Right. Yeah. Of course, he wasn't a soldier.
Right.
He was strong overall. All right. What else you got going over in the Athletic this week? So Canes fans can follow you and subscribe to the Athletic and support me.
Yeah, I just did a huge roster breakdown, came out yesterday, breaking down all the additions and giving people an idea of what the roster looks like from a scholarship standpoint and position by position, because I know everybody looks at it. Who did we get? So if you have questions, what does the roster look like? What do they need? I have that broken down for you. And then when I get back, I'm going to finish my my in-state Florida recruiting mailbag. I have some questions to answer there. Cormani McLean will be, I think, making an announcement on Sunday, the 15th. So we'll have some news with that.
I'm terrified of that kid.
I am too.
I'm completely terrified of that kid now. I hate when we have to go through all of this. It always ends up becoming a bust. God, I hope he's good. Because man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we got coming, man. I got another recruiting confidential on the ACC. Some stuff from these last couple of days, hanging out, talking to a bunch of coaches. The FSU people were happy to see me. I'll tell you that. They love the attention now. They're happy to talk to the guys from the Athletic now. So
there you go. And they probably follow the Gridiron too.
They do. They do.
That's it.
So
They see the gridirons out there covering everything. We'll try to include the national champion UCF Knights into the
next
round.
year. Next year, we're going to try to get them in there, and I'll be a little bit more. I'll be a little more well-rounded in all the state teams. Even when USF wins a game or two, I'll be sure to talk about them too for you.
Really USF and everything? Is Levitt coming back? By the way, did Andre Johnson have an offspring? Because maybe we could use it, because freaks of all freaks right there, bro. That was like
there are some incredibly talented guys on that Georgia roster, and that's what it made me think of. Andre Johnson, like they had like 20 Andre Johnsons out there, just size, speed, the whole package. It was crazy.
Yeah, man. God, Andre Johnson. I wish Andre Johnson would have ended up on an awesome team in the NFL.
Can you imagine? Could you imagine if he would have gotten drafted by the Colts and played with Peyton Manning and not the Texans, or
right?
Just any quarterback. What they would have said he was the best receiver. He would have
New Orleans. Play
with Drew Brees. Any of these other teams that needed a true number one, and he would have been phenomenal.
By the end of that career, they would have said he's one of the 5 best receivers in the history of the game.
Absolutely.
They don't say it now because, the numbers
are right.
Yeah. But let me tell you, he reminds me a lot of Irving Fryer.
Mm-hmm.
Irving Fryer had the shittiest quarterbacks in New England for years.
Yep.
And he would catch 1,000 yards every year, dude. And then he came to Miami and he had like Pro Bowl years because he had Marino. And then he went to the Eagles and he had another good quarterback and he had another Pro Bowl year. You know what I mean? He was.
You imagine Andre Johnson with Donovan McNabb back in the day?
Right.
Holy cow!
Right.
I just thought of another.
That's the worst thing that happened to Andre Johnson, because I think his stature as a player would have become bigger instead of just us. That you and I are talking about it because we saw him up front and we know how freaking special that guy was, that very few players in the entire history of the NFL have more talent and are as good as Andre Johnson at wide receiver.
Yep.
And it's just, brother, you played with Matt Schaub.
And he still ended up being the Texans' all-time leading receiver, right? So
well, of course, he's a monster. He's freaking awesome. Awesome as a human being and awesome as a football player, because he was one of my wife's students over at Miami High, because my wife, her first 13 years, she taught at her alma mater, Miami High, before we moved out west.
Him and Roscoe Parrish were a great tandem to watch back in the day at the high school levels.
Yeah, exactly. Roscoe was also a
Stingery.
Stingery, right? Yeah.
He was the quarterback. Yeah,
exactly. Was it Nigel something, the head coach?
Nigel Dunn, who ended up going to Norland and winning a state championship in Norland with James Coley, who was his offensive coordinator.
That's right.
So and they had Dwayne Bowe and a cast of guys that went on to play in the league. So
Yep, no doubt. All right, follow him on Twitter and Manny_Navarro. Catch his work there at The Athletic. Manny, as always, thank you, my friend. Be safe in your travels.
Thank you, brother. See ya.
You got it. There you go. Great stuff as always. Great insight from Manny Navarro and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report at 2511 South University Drive in Davie. I don't know for how long, right? Because they're going to move a couple stores down, so it won't be 2511. They're moving to a bigger. I mean, it's like they've been with me for years now, for over a decade. But I'm so proud because they've gone from a warehouse where they were at to the store out in Davie, and then they grew to a bigger store in Davie, and now they're going to grow to an even bigger store now, which is just absolutely awesome. How Brett actually likes to move every couple of years is beyond me, because I would hate move. I did that once with where I live now and where we used to live. Oh my God, moving is hell. I told my wife, I don't really ever want to move again, even though I think we'll probably move one more time. But, God, I dread it. I really dread it. Whew. Anyway, remember, you can go to Caneswear.com, get anything practically with the Canes logo on it. And they've got Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, Inter Miami gear, Marlins gear, and what else? Florida Panthers, all kinds of stuff. And when you order over $99, you will get free shipping. Caneswear.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Right. Bitcoin at 17,300, even though that guy doesn't want me to talk about crypto. What else? All right, we got some stuff going on. Let's see. Markets kind of in green. Kind of. The regular markets, let's see, the S&P 500 is down just about a quarter of a point, maybe. NASDAQ is barely up. Dow's barely up. Very, 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 at least the markets aren't red, but they're all barely up right now. So we'll take that. We'll take barely up compared to not being up at all. Oh, yeah. All right. What else do we have here on the show to share? Oh, do you know who Elizabeth Hurley is, Sean? Oh, let's see. Do you guys know? You guys know who Elizabeth Hurley is, right? Well, she, of course, is a former actress, right? And I just want you to know she is 57 years old. I wanted to look it up right now. Elizabeth Jane Hurley. So she's gone viral because she put out a Instagram post, 57 now, her in her bikini. And, sometimes you got to give props to people when they deserve it. And I got to tell you, Elizabeth Hurley at 57, impressive. You got to give her credit, bro. 57 years old. It is impressive how people can, except for myself, of course, but a lot of people that get older, they hold on and they look good. Not me, obviously. I look like shit every day, but people look at Elizabeth Hurley. She's taking care of herself. 57 years old, gentlemen. Just saying. It's kind of talented. God bless her. That is impressive right there. I saw it and I was like, damn, dude. Let's see. Miles Deep says, long time, Big O and Sean. Good morning from Vegas. Fins up. Like it. The chick from Bedazzled. True Fin Fan says, she's beautiful. Too Extreme says, she's always post pics of herself in bikinis. Well, when you look like that, you can post, a lot in bikini. Brett says, Hurley has always been hot, still is. That's my point. She's always been, you're right. She's always been a good-looking woman. But, dude, 57's impressive. Man. Don't be sexist, though. Ladies listening, too. What do you want me to do? You want me to put up a guy? I don't know. Is that what you want me to do? I'm sorry. I'm not being sexist. I'm being very complimentary. It's impressive, dude. 57. God bless her, man. That's awesome. She looks amazing, just like Brendan Fraser. Oh, yeah, he looks like me. Brendan Fraser looks like me. In fact, I think Brendan Fraser might be even fatter than I am, actually. She's pretty hot for 57. She's holding it together pretty well. She's holding it together perfectly, bro. Perfectly. Okay, at 57, that's props, man. It's the kind of stuff that should inspire all of us. Except my dumb ass, it doesn't. I'm stuck here where I'm at. I don't get motivated at all, which is terrible on my part. Yeah, she was engaged to Hugh Grant, yeah. Yep. Yep. I remember that. All right, what else do we have going on in the world of sports? By the way, very, very quiet on the Dana White front. You notice that? That nobody is saying anything from ESPN and anywhere else about the Dana White story where he slaps his wife twice. And let me tell you something, it's pretty disgusting that these companies are not holding him accountable on this. And, you know, the interesting thing is that he was quoted. And I put this up. Let me see. Do I have my Twitter feed up here? I put this up this morning, this article for, there we go. I put up this morning this article about Dana White. And to me, it's kind of ridiculous that this is going on because it's pretty disgusting. Sportico writing about this. There's one thing that you never bounce back from, and that's putting your hands on a woman, said Dana White, who has helmed MMA promoter since 2001. He said it in 2014. Been that way in the UFC since we started here. You don't bounce back from putting your hands on a woman. And then the article continues and says, that is, of course, unless you're White, who has served as the face of UFC for more than 2 decades and looks likely to continue in that role even after a physical altercation with his wife. Ann, at a New Year's party in Mexico, was captured on camera and shared by TMZ in the video. White grabbed Ann's hands. She then slapped him. He then in turn slapped her twice back. The response from UFC and Endeavor, UFC itself and promoters' corporate partners, all of whom presumably have the power to press some sort of discipline, if not White's ouster, has been deafening silence. So if Dana White is black, is it quiet? Do they not respond? ESPN? Endeavor? You tell me. Like, what makes this guy special that he can overcome stuff like this when none of us could? Not that I would ever do something that disgusting, but that's fine. You know, I've been happily married, and I would never hit my wife, ever. There's no need for any of that. And I don't care if she's not, my wife wouldn't slap me either, but she did. It's not going to require me to slap her back. I will take it out on her in other ways, you know, that I don't need to lay a finger on her. So, you know what I'm saying? It's weird. And there's no action whatsoever. Nobody says anything. It's never on ESPN. They don't talk about it. And I think that most people would go down in flames, white or black. But it's strange how Dana White just skates through all of this stuff. And nobody says anything. Nobody does anything about it. Wow. It's pretty disgusting, I got to say. Pretty weak on their part. Telling you, that is just disturbing at every level. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Let's get ready for hour number 3. We're going to talk to Michelle Kaufman. We'll talk a little Inter Miami football. Yeah, baby. Let's do that next right here on the Big O Radio Show on the Sports Talk 305 Network.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
There she is, the legend that is Michelle Kaufman. How are you doing? How was your New Year's?
Yes, Happy New Year. How are you?
Very good. Surviving. We're here one more day. The good
That's
Lord
right.
for another day. So here we are. By the way, I don't know if you heard a little bit about what I was talking about going into. Are you amazed that the whole Dana White thing, like it's been swept completely under the rug?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really follow. I mean, I don't follow Ultimate Fighting and stuff, but I've seen the headlines about it and about domestic violence that they just don't, it's just not an issue.
Weird. Anyway, so just odd. All right. So we got a new interseason. Camp starts now. So we got things going. We got it rolling, but not everybody is under contract. So
Right.
Walk us through what's going on and how you round out this roster.
Yeah, I mean, most of the roster is back from last year. It's not anything like last year. They had 18 new players. So it was a complete overhaul. This year, it's not. This year, it's a handful of changes. The biggest hole, the biggest gap that needs to be filled is obviously Gonzalo Higuain. He scored most of their goals last year. So he's gone and he retired. And then Pozuelo, who produced and helped produce created a lot of those opportunities for Gonzalo. He's out of contract. He is not in camp. He's out of contract. And, they're working on a lot of different things and he might not necessarily be back. It really kind of depends because he's a high priced player. But they may not be willing to pay his price for this coming year if there are other things that they're going to get in. So they're still working on 2 or 3 deals for like critical starting positions. One thing of note, obviously a big story of note, is that Rodolfo Pizarro is back. He went to Mexico last season. The idea was he was going to go there and he was hoping to make the Mexican national team for the World Cup. That did not happen. At the end of the season, Monterrey said, thank you very much. Bye-bye. And nobody else has picked up, no one else wants to buy him, at least for the price that Inter Miami wants. So he's back with Inter Miami. I do have to tell you that my high place sources tell me that he looks amazing, that he's been, Phil said yesterday, he's been the most outstanding player in camp in the first few days. I've heard that from a few people, that he's really, looks very, very good. His skill and his attitude. He's very happy. He was not happy.
What else are they going to say, Michelle? What else are they going to say?
But the truth
is, they're stuck with. It's a contract they're stuck with.
Right.
They're dying. They've shown every which way possible to try to unload him.
Yeah.
Of course, they got to talk him up to try to see if they can unload him. Here's the question I have for you, because the convoluted rules of the MLS, I have no idea. I have to plead complete ignorance here because I don't know. But, in other sports, you could just buy somebody
Yeah,
out.
they could buy him out. They could buy him out.
And then do they
His
open that
contract was
international
worth
slot?
$3.5 million. Yeah, they could buy him out. But I'm telling you the truth here. The people that I've spoken to said that, one of his big issues was with Gonzalo. He was actually a good player until Gonzalo arrived. His decline began the minute Gonzalo Higuain was signed. And they never got along. They never meshed. That partnership never developed, never happened. He lost a lot of his confidence. Supposedly with the new group,
he would marry the freaking soccer ball. He
Yes.
would not let go of the ball.
No,
He
I
thought
know.
it
And
was magnet to him. So he was more of the problem than even Higuain, because Higuain showed that once you brought in a guy in Pozuelo that could serve it to him, he became more productive. Because you see, the beauty of you and I is we've been through hell and back with soccer in this town. So Higuain, to me, is Lassiter, and I'm talking about the father. When we watched him with the Fusion, he wasn't going to be able to set things up for himself. So he needed somebody to feed him and set him up so he can one time it, one step, boom, shoot, whatever. And that's how Roy Lassiter would be productive. And so was Higuain. Pizarro's problem was, dude, he wanted to weave through 3-4 guys. And then
he would make some cool little dazzling dribbling, but then would lose the ball a lot. Or we would end up in the corner. He'd end up trapped in the corner because he dribbled too far and didn't get rid of it. So all I'm telling you is supposedly he looks good in camp. He's happy, whatever. He may end up on this team. They may end up not, because they are, I do know that they are trying, they're very close to signing and trying to sign Joseph Martinez, who was with Atlanta, MVP of the league. Fastest guy he had six hat tricks in his first 44 games. I had all the stats in there today. He broke the MLS scoring. He had 31 goals in a season. He's broken a lot of MLS scoring records. He was the MLS MVP. Now it was in 2018, so it's been a little while. But he is a guy that Phil Neville and Chris Henderson really like. Phil talked him up yesterday, big time. His character was brought up by a reporter because he's apparently everywhere he's gone, he's kind of left on bad terms with managers. Okay. And I can use this language here on this show, I think, what I cannot use in the Miami Herald. Phil said his answer to, are you concerned about his character, he said, excuse my language, but what we say in England is, he doesn't realize we say it here too, but he said, what we say in England is, and you have to picture with a British accent, no dickheads allowed. No dickheads allowed in the locker room, I think is what he said. Anyway, he said that he has told management he can handle any personality, and he thinks that he proved it with Gonzalo.
Yes, he did.
He was a cancer in the locker room, was dour and sour and miserable. And Phil, in the group, turned him around, and he became a very productive player for the team. So Phil said that he has no doubt that the locker room as it is now, with the leaders that they have now, with Yedlin, with Gregory, with these guys, that whoever they bring in, even if it's a guy who's been a grumpy player before, that they would take care of that aspect. They want somebody who can score a lot of goals. They feel that Joseph Martinez would be a great opportunity. Atlanta has basically told him, Atlanta supposedly has told him that he's not in their plans. So they are shopping him. And from what I understand, it's between Inter Miami and Internacional in Brazil. And I believe he's going to land here. So that will be the big signing, for right now. If so, then
that means they have two international players under contract, right? It would be Pizarro and him. So they have one slot, huh?
DPs, you mean?
DPs, right. So they would have one slot open. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, because I think, again, with the MLS rules are very strange, and we couldn't even get anybody to clear it up yesterday. Campana has signed a full-time contract. Miami bought him from Wolves, and so he is officially Inter Miami player now, and he is a young DP. Young DPs don't count the same as a real DP because he's under 22 years old. So I think he will be making a significant raise, but he won't count as one of the main DPs, per se. The big question was that some people had reported that I think ESPN or MLS, somebody reported that Gregory had been given a raise to DP level. And if that was the case, then they wouldn't have a DP slot. Well, they would have they could sign one, but then they would have three. Then they would have, if Gregory is one and Gonzalo and Pizarro is one. And then if they were to bring in, somebody like Joseph Martinez, that would probably be another DP. So that would be the three. We asked Phil yesterday, point blank, a reporter asked him, is Gregory a DP? Has he been elevated to DP? And Phil said, I honestly don't know. I don't understand the MLS contracts. He said, there are many mechanisms to get players raises, and it may not necessarily be naming him a DP. Then we asked Gregory. Gregory himself came in and said that as far as he knows, nothing has changed with his contract. So I don't know where that came from, or if he's getting a raise, but it's using some other kind of TAM, GAM, this, that, and that it won't. I don't know. I'm not sure, but or it's
that would not be a good move, by the way. That would be a terrible move. That's the same thing as putting the French guy as one of your DPs. That's not the kind of player that you make a DP. Now, the way this conversation is going, I'm almost sensing that Pizarro's on here if they can't find a better DP.
I specifically asked off the record, my people, that if Joseph Martinez comes in here, does that mean that Pizarro would go? Like maybe he would be traded as part of the trade or something. And I was told that is not the case, that Pizarro would probably still stay even if they bring Joseph Martinez. Now, I don't know.
Oh, no, but they have the slots to do that. But my point is, so if you have Joseph, you still have one more slot left because you have also Pizarro. Okay, so, and there's all the messy stuff. I just don't believe it. And especially after the World Cup, how's he not going to stay in Europe for a couple of more years making, oh my God, the kind of money that guy makes? You know what I'm saying? How do you pass that up? So I don't think he's coming. But I almost get the feeling that the aggressive nature of really wanting to go sign this, not whether
they're
it's
going to sign somebody. They are going to sign somebody. Every indication and hint that I heard yesterday was that if they don't sign somebody by February 25th, by the start of the season, they will leave a DP slot open for the summer. Yes, somebody, because Phil said yesterday, we want to sign. He said, Jorge, Jose, and David, and him, and Chris, they want to sign. They love the roster if they have it, but they want to sign a big time player. And he said, and to do that, it takes time. And the MLS season is not in conjunction with the European season, and so we may have to wait until June, July to the summer window in Europe. So, whether it's Messi, which I feel with you that he's on top of the world right now. He's literally the number one player in the world, which he already was. But after this World Cup, I just don't see him going from that mountaintop to playing at Drive Pink Stadium against the Columbus Crew. I just don't see it,
Nope. And the money. And the money he's going to make in Europe, he can't make that money here.
Right.
People
well, he can't make it in salary. Here's the thing, though. Hear me out for a minute.
Okay.
He can't make it in salary. There's no way. Inter Miami, forget it. We would not make it in salary. However, one theory is that with the World Cup coming here, the next World Cup in 2026, which is in the summer, so it's 3.5 years away. 3.5 years from now, the World Cup is coming to the United States of America, which is, money central, sponsorship central, corporation central of the world. If Messi were to come here, it would not necessarily be an Inter Miami paying him, $70 million, $900 million, whatever. But if the league and Apple, Apple is now going to be the ones showing the games. All the games now for MLS are on Apple, okay?
Yep,
on Apple TV. If Apple gets involved to bring Messi over here, okay, as an MLS, think about this for a minute. Apple is all of a sudden now, starting February 1st, all the games are going to be global on Apple products, the MLS games. If they think that it's worth an investment, they and Adidas or whatever, some big soccer companies and Apple think that for the next 3 years to have Messi in the United States promoting soccer in this country from MLS on Apple products around the world, if they make some kind of corporate deals with him, that's the only way that I see that it could maybe make sense. If he really feels that he has won everything there is to win in Europe, I know he'd like to win a Champions League with PSG, but, is that the be-all, end-all? Probably not. That's the only thing he hasn't won. He's won everything else. So if he honestly deep down feels that he's done everything and won everything that there is to win in Europe, he loves Miami. His family loves Miami. If you watch some of the footage of the craziness of the fans around him after the World Cup in Argentina, where they literally were, hordes and mobs of people outside his front door of his house that he couldn't even get into his own house. If he's a little tired of that life and he would come here and have a simpler life, he loves Miami. If he wants to experience the United States and makes his money from the corporate side, leading into the next World Cup, and then becomes the big corporate, he's on every billboard in the United States promoting the 2026 World Cup. That's the only way that I think it works. As the defending World Cup champion, best player in the world, Leo Messi is now in the United States promoting this World Cup to the world and promoting MLS through Apple. That's the only way I see it could make sense as a business deal.
Yeah, no, that makes sense what you're saying. I just think he'll want to, it's what you said initially. It professionally, it's not going to fill his need for competition, because you've been around athletes, all kinds in all sports, and they want to compete at the highest level.
Yeah.
And right now he still can compete at the highest level.
And even a guy like Gonzalo. I mean, Phil mentioned yesterday, one of the issues with Gonzalo is that his standards were so high. He was not good at restraining his frustration. But a guy who comes into this league who's super skilled, who is used to having everyone around them be super skilled and being able to deliver balls in little tight spaces and stuff, when they come here and maybe don't get that, that can be frustrating. And Gonzalo was clearly frustrated to the point that he was always, his arms were always flailing to all his teammates, and it rubbed everybody the wrong way on his team and the fans and everything. But part of that, what Phil said yesterday in hindsight, is that part of that was that he was so extremely competitive and so demanding of his teammates, and they just couldn't deliver what he wanted them to deliver. When Pozuelo came, all of a sudden he changed. Why? Because there was a guy that he felt was on his level. You know what I mean? A guy from Spain who could deliver the balls that he wanted, So yeah, I agree with you. If Messi comes here, the level of competition is not going to be what he had at Barcelona and with the Argentine national team and at PSG, when his teammates are Mbappe and Neymar. Literally, his teammates are two of the other top two players in the world are his teammates on the team he has right now. So for him to come here, I don't think it would be for soccer reasons. I think it would be for personal and corporate and planting, preparing for his future, business, retirement and business. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Passes from Mbappe or Neymar, or a pass from Ariel Lassiter. It's quite a difference there. You know what I'm saying? So it is
Yeah.
what it is. All right.
By the way,
So
another one, I want to bring up one more person who's back
Okay.
that I know we've talked about a million times, which is Robbie Robinson. Remember him? He's still on the team. He hasn't played in forever, but
I'd rather talk about Campana staying healthy.
okay.
Because I really like Campana.
I do too. I do too.
I love his ability. Robbie, I think, is too soft.
Mhm.
You know, I'm sorry, but I just feel that mentally, I don't see a tough kid there. You know, I see a kid that the tent folds pretty quickly. And so, but Campana, man, if he can figure out his body,
Yeah.
that kid's got
I
some
agree.
steel.
He's really good. I think Campana's really good. He showed it last year. He had that injury at the end, which was devastating for him because he really was right on the cusp of making the Ecuadorian national team, and he would have played in the World Cup, and that would have been an amazing experience for him to come back with a World Cup under his belt at age 21. You know,
When you talk to him about all his injuries last year, what have you had that conversation, like, or with the team? Like, what are they doing different to try to see if that's just a training thing? I don't know if it's his habits of eating, or is it just bad luck, or what do they say about that? Because that's a kid that, man, if you can get his body right, I just feel he can be a real positive.
yeah, I do think I did get the sense yesterday because we talked about Robbie and we talked in general with Phil about the team and we talked to some players. It does seem that this year, because it is a really long season and they have all these cups now in the summer, they're going to have this Champions Cup and this other cup against Mexican teams and whatever. There's going to be a lot of soccer. Phil said, I think it's 47 games. There will be 47 games and, 34 league games plus like a potential whatever, 13 other games and US Open Cup and whatever, that they are going to, I think they're working on recovery issues more than they did last year. I think they don't want to overwork the guys. They want them to be super fit, but they also want them to have the longevity to last through the whole season. And, I think maybe Campana, suffered as a result from that. I think he was also unlucky. I really do. Because he is very fit. I mean, he's one of the most fit guys on the team. He's got a body, he's one of the most fit guys on the team. And for him to get injured, those times that he did, and he was injured, came back, and then got injured again. And that happened with Robbie too, by the way. Robbie injured, the hamstring, came back and injured the same hamstring.
It's a couple of years with Robbie. That's
yeah, it's been a few years with Robbie. It has. So we'll see. I mean, I absolutely agree. Campana has incredible potential.
And by the way, also, let's be honest. Campana, in the one stretch during this season, has shown us more than Robbie has his entire career.
Right. No, he did. Yeah, he was scoring almost every game or every game. He had a stretch where he scored 8 goals in 5 games or something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, he's very good.
Robbie never, ever has flashed that way. All Robbie does is occasionally show you physical ability.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he never puts it together, where Campana put it together, man. He looked good. He looked like a real 10 sometimes out there.
Yeah, he did. Yep. Yep.
I really like it. So overall, when does this Pozuelo thing work out?
I think that's on the back burner while they're working out these other things. I think Pozuelo returning to the team is going to be fully dependent on what other deals they make and what they have to give up. What kind of money do they have to spend? Do they have a DP spot? Do they not have a DP spot? Does Pizarro stay with the team, or does somebody in MLS want him? Those deals are still ongoing. They are not done. This roster is not finished. This roster is not fully baked for February 25th for the opening game. It's not. The majority of it is. It's not like last year. It's not a complete overhaul. But I would say there are 2 to 3 big pieces that will be starters that are still undetermined at this point. And camp just started yesterday. They have a game on the 21st. Their first friendly game that we can see is against Vasco da Gama. Brazilian team is going to be here at Drive Pink on the 21st. So I
Sure.
think that'll be a good, early test, January 21st. That's in 2 weeks, just to see something. But yeah, it's still a work in progress until opening day, February 25th.
Follow her on Twitter at Koff Sports. And of course, catch all of her work there at the Miami Herald and all of the insights on our favorite soccer team, Inter Miami CF. Michelle, as always, thank you for the time. Appreciate you. We'll catch up down the line.
All right. Thanks for having me. Also pay attention to UM basketball, all of you people out there, because the men's team is in the top 20, number 16. They were number 12. They're 13-2 and right up there at second place in the ACC, ahead of a lot of the big powers. And number 2, the women's team just beat 2 top 25 teams back to back. So it's been fun to cover the basketball too.
Us old people, it's hard to get us to like this college basketball, man.
I love college basketball.
I saw Michael Jordan and Alonzo Mourning and Leitner and Larry Johnson and company, all these people for 3 to 4 years. And I don't get to see that anymore in college basketball. I am one of the worst people ever about college basketball now, because it doesn't attract me because of what I ended up witnessing, for years before this. It's just, God.
But the NBA is no different. The NBA is a revolving door. No one stays on the same team. This is
but that's all NBA teams. I don't get NBA players anymore on NCAA level. Pretty much, it's just. I mean, I saw the stars. There's no stars anymore in college basketball like there used to be. That's my problem with college basketball.
Right. All right, it's still fun though.
I'm just I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry. All right, but Katie Meyer always has my support.
There you go. And they have a good team this year. They have a fun team this year. They have the Cavender twins. Haley Cavender is a baller. She's not just a TikTok. That girl can play. She's super competitive. Katie said she's the most competitive kid I've had in my entire career. And then she paused and said times 10, that she's never had a player that competitive. Times 10, this Haley Cavender. And you see her when she's out there. The twins are both good, but she's, a little level above her sister as far as super aggressive, super competitive. And she's had, the past few games she's played really, really outstanding. So they've been kind of fun to watch. So
follow her on Twitter at Koff Sports and catch her work there at the Miami Herald. Bye, Michelle. We'll see you later.
Bye. Take care. Have a good day.
You got it. There you go. That is Michelle Kaufman. Give us 1 minute. We'll be back with Anthony Chang, also from the Miami Herald. Let's talk a little Heat basketball. We got a lot of injuries with the Heat. Let's see if Anthony's got some answers next.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slowens, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house!
Get out of the house! Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
I see where the World Bank warns of global recession in 2023. Thanks, man. Thanks for the info and the insight on something we already knew that was either happening right now and going into next year. Wow, that's genius. Anyway, welcome aboard. How are you doing, Anthony? Good afternoon, sir.
I warn of heat injury issues.
Yes,
that's what I warn about.
Yeah, you're gonna give us a lot of warning.
That's my bold prediction. Yeah.
Although we got good news with Bam, right? Because the MRI was negative.
Yeah, negative. It's a wrist contusion. He's out tonight. I'm assuming he'll probably miss at least multiple games, right? I mean, he couldn't even shoot the ball last game. He said the pain was excruciating. So I would imagine he missed at least a couple games, but it's better than, I guess, the other possible outcome of broken wrist or broken hand. That would have been
definitely. Now a jam wrist, if that's what he has, like a jam, that shit lasts a while.
Yeah,
okay?
And it's a shooting wrist, so imagine.
Shooting wrist. It's very sensitive, and as I've told Ira and I told you last year, while I love Bam, I called him a super role player. And what did I tell you last year? As I told you, I said in today's NBA, if you can't force your offensive will on teams, then you cannot be a superstar. Those days of Rodman and Ben Wallace and all that shit back in the 90s, he could have been that. But guess what happened this year? Guess what's happened over the last couple of weeks with Bam Adebayo? He has imposed his offensive will on the league, and he has really become now a franchise player because he's aggressive offensively. And now he jams his wrist. This sucks, man.
This season has it's been constant. Just when it looks like they're getting healthier, somebody else goes down or two starters go down. It's getting to the point where you're waiting for the Heat to make some type of run to like avoid the play-in territory, right? But if they're out without four starters, without multiple starters for multiple games, like I just don't know what they can do.
Bam, you can't.
And with Bam has been their most irreplaceable player, right? Jimmy is probably still their best player, but Bam is irreplaceable what he does on both ends. And then the drop-off between him and the other centers on the roster, you just can't make up what he does and what he means to this team. So
25 points a night or whatever, you're not going to make up for that every night. That's just impossible, bro. Obviously, the rebounds and everything else.
Yeah, and he's at the center. He's at the center of what they do defensively. Their whole scheme is built around him and what he can do, switching and all that. And for better or worse, like that's kind of what their defense is built around. So without him, everything changes. It's just tough.
I mean, when you have Jimmy and Butler and Bam playing well, and even Tyler, you're still not a great team. You need other people. And the problem is, brother, you got all these injuries, and then now your main guys also, and Jimmy takes half the season off. It's really tough this year for the Miami Heat to kind of get out of this rut right now. And, again, another guy, I thought, what Tyler's doing, it's fantastic too. That's another kid that really has, and here he is also, dealing with what is an Achilles soreness or something?
Achilles soreness. He slipped on a wet spot at the end of the game. And, we talked to him after the game. He said he was fine, but obviously he was feeling sore the next morning and he's out tonight. And Achilles, that's always scary, right? If it's just soreness, hopefully, he won't have to miss too much time, but you don't mess with the Achilles.
No, you can't.
Yeah, just not good news for the Heat right now. Definitely not.
Yeah, no, and you're talking about a team now that's just one game over 500. And I know the Thunder aren't very good, but today with all these injuries, I mean, how many guys are they going to miss tonight? Bam,
we're missing
Tyler,
at least 7 games. I mean, at least 7 guys. And
Duncan's
that doesn't
out.
include Duncan's out, Jovic is out, Yurtseven is out, and then the 4 starters.
Right.
Jimmy's the only starter available. You're looking at a starting lineup of Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Jimmy Butler, Hayward Highsmith, and probably Orlando Robinson. And then a bench of Udonis Haslem, Dwayne Dedmon, Victor Oladipo, and Jamal Cain.
Do they call somebody up for this game?
They can't. I mean, they
Oh, they
I guess they
can't?
could sign a guy. They're two-way guys already up with them.
No,
right
not
now.
the two-way guys. I'm talking
Yeah.
about any of the other guys just for depth purposes. Do you bring up a guy or two that no, you have
I
won't
think
know
because
that until later on?
well, I'd be surprised only because there's the luxury tax, right? We've talked about it. I know you've talked
Oh,
about Ira
God.
many times. Like they can do the 10-day contract right at this point, and that won't put them over the tax, but that only moves you even closer. So then you have to wait even longer until the season to sign a guy. It just sets everything back. So I would imagine that they hope this is a one-game thing and they can get at least a couple guys back next game, and they'll have maybe 11 guys instead of 9, and just try to survive tonight with 9.
You know, when I hear a billionaire penny pinching, it kind of gives me a migraine. You understand that, right? Like,
I
seriously. Seriously, I'm like,
understand.
and the Arison family is awesome. I get it; they're great business people. This whole hookup about a luxury tax, bro. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah, the
know,
thing, yeah,
And we keep waiting for the star that never arrives on that trade that you're waiting to. Okay, we'll go over the luxury tax for that star, but meanwhile, your coach and your front office are going through hell right now. You know, and certain decisions that you've made too don't help keeping, you know, again, we all love UD, but brother, that position should be for somebody that can really contribute every single night if you need it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just, and then you're also going with a roster that is one less on top of all of that, which then that's two positions now. So that's 3 overall that are pretty much useless to you. That you just can't do that to your coaching staff, dude. It's just not fair. Really is.
And with all those factors, this is like everything that the Heat didn't want to happen. You know, when you're going into a season with one less and Udonis Haslem on the roster, has happened. They've missed the second most games this season because of injury, only second to the Orlando Magic. Injury issues throughout the year, and to star players. I mean, Jimmy, like you said, has missed double-digit games, I believe. Bam Adebayo is missing his 4th or 5th game this season. Tyler's missing his 9th, 10th game this season. It's just their preferred starting lineup, the starting 5, has played in 14 games together. They have played, and the team is playing their 42nd game of the season tonight. Their starting 5 has played 14 games together. That's a third of the season.
Wait a minute. I think I found the problem here. Let's throw somebody else under the bus that's no longer here in town. This is a Kobe Price thing. Because he was here and then he's in Orlando. Those are the 2 teams that have all the injuries. Well, what's going on with Kobe?
Whatever teams he touches, that's the problem. Yeah.
What is going on with Kobe Price? The hell is going on? Come on, Kobe.
We have to get him on here and ask him.
They're all breaking down. You leave Miami, they're all broken down.
Yeah.
Come on, it's the Kobe Price disease. What's going on here? By the way, he does an excellent job covering the Magic.
He does. Kobe's great. He's a good friend
he does
too.
A really good job. You can tell when I watch him cover all the different sports he's covered, you can tell that he really loves to cover basketball.
Oh, he loves basketball.
Yeah, no, you can tell.
When he used to throw in with Ira at the Sun Sentinel, I go on a few road trips with him, and he
it's like when I watch Sean talk wrestling, I see it in his face. You know, his face freaking lights up. And, that's why I always try to encourage him to, do his wrestling thing because he's good at it. And he knows his stuff. And when you're passionate and you love what you do, it comes through. And you can tell when Kobe's covering basketball, because he doesn't really I don't give a shit about the Magic.
Yeah.
But only because I know Kobe and gotten to know him a little bit. That's the only reason why I follow the Magic, thanks to Kobe. And he does a really good job. He's all over the place with it, man. I give him a lot of credit overall. This is an ugly game. But you know what? Before I get into that game, the 2-minute report, that was weak sauce, bro. And don't tell me he jumped up straight. He jumped forward. Okay.
His arms were a little bit out like that too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And here's the other thing. I blame some on Jimmy. You know why? The possession before, he missed that bunny in the lane.
The little mid-range jumper in the paint. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, you're right. And a lot of times, even with contact, he's the best player on the court for the Heat. He can score that basket a lot of times because he plays through contact. He's so good at that. It's free. He might be the best player ever in Heat history to play through contact.
LeBron was.
Well, yeah, but he's like a freaking Mac.
No,
it's
it's like
Shaq.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
So everyone except LeBron and Shaq. Jimmy's
right. Yeah, those
probably
guys are
best, yeah.
just freaks and everything.
Other
You know what I'm
class.
saying?
Yeah.
It's not impressive that you're barreling through people because look at you.
Sure.
But when I
Yeah.
see Jimmy do it, and one of the things I love about Jimmy is his hands.
Mhm.
He has these human vice grips on the basketball, and you don't knock it out of his hands when he goes up to and he'll get his shot off. So I get it. But I mentioned that even on my tweet, I say, hey, look, man, he missed the bunny before. So, but come on, man, that was a foul. They didn't want to decide the game. Clearly.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, no, I think it was a foul. I don't think it was like 100% clear. It was a close call, right? It was a bang play. Royce O'Neal made a nice play on, challenging him at the rim, rotating from the weak side. But it did look like he jumped into Jimmy, right? And there have been other calls made where there's less contact. So
can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Here's where reputation sets the stage. What's Royce O'Neal known for?
Defense.
What's Jimmy Butler known for? Driving to the paint, right?
Driving to the paint, getting fouls too, getting into the free throw line. Yeah.
Right. But because of the contact, it's kind of normal for those two. So you know who Royce is, you know who Jimmy is, let him play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of also because it's in the referee's mind that, okay, these are the style. This is how these two play. Let them go at it.
Let them go. Yeah, right. We don't want to decide the game.
It's close enough that, he might have, but you know what? Jimmy normally scores in this. This is how this other kid plays.
Yeah.
I'm going to let it go. I'm going to step away from it because that's their nature. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I think that kind of also hurts the situation for Jimmy, but it's what it's actually looked at overall, I think subconsciously, for the referee.
Yeah. Yeah. And you honestly could not have asked for a better shot in that spot. 3 seconds left, inbounds play. I mean, it was a perfect play. You get Jimmy at the rim, the chance to win the game. The Heat should have won that game. Even before that, every time, 9 out of 10 times he scores that. And even before that play, I mean, just the freak offensive rebound where the bodies are flying everywhere. It falls in Royce O'Neal's hands, and he just right open at the rim for the putback.
Right.
Just kind of like,
by the way, just an absolute terrible decision by Kyrie Irving. I mean,
the pull up for that three, right? It worked out, but it was a bad. It's funny because terrible decision by Kyrie to put up that 30-foot three at that point, and then great look for the Heat on the other end.
Yeah,
at the rim, and it didn't work out. It's just sometimes
Jimmy jukes his initial defender, and he's got the beautiful lane to it. I'll take that play not 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100.
Yeah.
That play happens for Jimmy. But
you know what, Big O, though? And I've been saying this all season. All the Heat plays is close games, right? They lead the league in clutch games. That is not a terrible thing, but it's not good because a lot of times those games are decided by luck. Look at this last game, and that's what happened. That's the danger of playing all these close games where you could lose a game with a freak offensive rebound that just falls into a guy's hands because you put yourself in that position. Last year, the Heat had 31 double-digit wins, I think. This year, they're on pace for 10. They just can't pull away from teams, and a lot of times it's going to be decided in the final seconds on one play, and that's what happened against the Nets.
Whatever the stats tell you, to me, it's kind of deceiving. This is not really a great defensive team. They have a couple of players that can play defense, but it's not really a great defensive team. And then on the flip side, you're not offensively explosive enough.
Right.
So then there's a combination there that's really kind of tough to balance. That's why I think you find yourself in all those tight games because you don't have enough to really shut people down or you don't really have enough to blow people out.
Yeah.
And so then it puts you into a battle every single night. And then that's where it just becomes difficult because there isn't enough explosiveness in this offense.
Yeah. No, I agree. And look, the offense has been among the league's worst the entire season. I think it's like 6th worst right now. It's just they're not a good offensive team, and that's part of the reason why they can't pull away from teams. But also, your point is not wrong. Like they're ranked number 9 in defense, which is good. It's above average.
Yeah.
But you look at the other numbers, man-to-man defense, 4th worst in the NBA.
I know.
Their zone has carried their defense. Also, They're among the NBA's best at forcing turnovers, which is their strength on defense. You take away possessions where they don't force a turnover and just like shot attempts and free throw attempts, they're 20th. So that's how much they rely on turnovers. When they don't force a turnover, they're not a good defensive team. So yes, they're above average on defense. Their defense is better than their offense.
It's deceiving.
Sure. Yeah. But it's a little bit deceiving because they're not the elite defensive team they were last season.
No. Or what they've been traditionally.
Yeah.
It's not really the Heat defense that. Now, let's be honest. The league doesn't play like traditionally the defenses used to play either. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like it's almost like your defense in today's NBA has to know how to get key stops.
Just survive. Yeah, just survive.
Yeah. That's kind of what it is, key stops.
But when your offense is not good, you need your defense to win games. And that's the issue. You know, their offense on most nights is just not good enough to carry them. They need their defense to be very, very good to win games against good teams.
What do you think about tonight? Because they're not playing a good team, but man, they're so injury riddled.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it doesn't matter who you're playing. You're missing 4 starters. Like that's tough. And OKC's been playing better, and their net rating is actually better than the Heat's this season, which is kind of crazy. They're not a terrible team. So you're missing 4 stars against a team that's playing better. They're probably playing better than their record says right now. They have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's great offensive player, can get into the paint at will. They have good young talent. So, yes, the Heat are at home. They still have Jimmy Butler. But you're missing 4 starters against a team that's not bad. It's going to be tough. I honestly, I think the Thunder probably should win this game, but I don't rule the Heat out because of Jimmy and they're at home.
I'm with you there. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chang. And, of course, catch his work there at the Miami Herald, getting it done, as always, covering the Miami Heat. Subscribe to the Miami Herald so you can support people like Anthony and Michelle Kaufman, who was just on with us just a couple of minutes ago. Anthony, appreciate you, my brother. Enjoy the game tonight. And I don't know, bro. Pray for them because they need it's like the Heat, the Dolphins. My God, the amount of injuries that these teams suffered here has just set them back. So hang in there, brother. Interesting season.
Yep. Thanks, Big O. Anytime.
Got it.
See you soon.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald giving us a little Heat insight. Lofi says, Magic was my team when I watched. Well, you should watch now. That Banchero kid is fun to watch, man. Like the Magic, but they hit it on Banchero. I'll tell you, for a franchise that has done nothing, they have hit on some players. They don't stay there, but they've had some pretty special players there. Big O is on fire. What did I do? I don't know. But we gave you good soccer talk, if you like Enter. We gave you good Heat talk, if you like that. We gave you good Canes talk, if you like that. And then we've talked plenty of the Miami Dolphins, too. So kind of a well-rounded show. We kind of give you a couple of things there. Cam Wolf, by the way, will join us tomorrow. Matt Verderam also tomorrow on the program. What else do we have on the show to talk about? Oh, I do want to remind you, Nature Bee, proud sponsor of our program. We love Nature Bee. I take those 2 golden capsules every single day from Nature Bee. It powers me through my day. Yes, that's what it's all about, powering through that day, giving me that boost in my immune system, which to me, that's the most important thing I love about Nature Bee. Sure, longer nails, fuller hair, all of that. You can get that. It's great for indigestion, great for the creaky bones. Just all you got to do is just Google it, find out about plant pollen and how beneficial it is to us human beings. And it's grown in clean, green New Zealand. That's where Nature Bee is. And when you go to naturebee.com, folks, go check out some of the other products. I tell you all the time about their soaps. These soaps are freaking awesome. They smell so good. All right. I tell you all the time about this, and I'll be taking this with me to Mobile, Alabama, and to Indianapolis to get those dry lips going. My wife loves the wrinkle cream. There's all kinds of. Oh, yes. My Manuka and honey. Where are we? Here we go. When I have a sore throat, Manuka and honey. I mean, there's all kinds of great things. But if you want to get a little Nature Bee in your system, which is great also for the kids and the adults, 2 months, $66. But we're going to give you the third month for free and free shipping. So it's like, I don't know what, do the math, like 70 cents a day or something stupid. You're going to get that incredible protection from something that is all natural. And in a virus-filled world, we need all the help we possibly can get. Go to naturebee.com. Check it out. You can use our code. 2 months for $66. Get the third month for free and free shipping. Use the code Big O. Naturebee.com. Did anybody send in any super chats? Did I miss anything? I don't know if I missed anything. Let me see what we got. See if there's anything Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. As always, that's Cash Big O Show. Nothing on Cash App or Venmo. Oh, Hurley or Selma? Oh, Selma Hayek, for sure. I'm Cuban, bro. Elizabeth Hurley is a beautiful woman, terrific body overall. But when we talk about Salma Hayek, that's that's material. You know what I'm saying? Those are major curves. So yeah, no. You can't present a Latin man with a nice, beautiful, skinny girl and then a curvaceous woman. You know what I'm saying? Because Salma Hayek is curvaceous. And so that's, that's never a comparison you can make overall to Latin guys. That's all I can tell you. Anything is better than listening to Omar. Why you got to pick on Omar? Omar will be on also tomorrow around noon. So you can tune out at that time. We love Omar. Like I said, Dolphins want to have a chance. They have to score on offense. Tua needs like 400 yards, 4 TDs for the Dolphins to have a chance to victory, but it won't happen. No, I know. Of course it won't happen because, it's not like Tua didn't do enough last time to win. Bills will have Hamlin FaceTiming them on their big screen. Place will be completely nuts. Finns have a 20% chance with Tua. There's no 5% without him. Try 0. Okay. It's like, okay, the Bills would have to turn over the ball 67 times. So not 1%, but let's go 0.00059%. Okay. Some fraction of a percent you might have. Just because I got to leave out for the slight chance that they just have Butterfingers that day and they do special teams turnovers and Josh Allen's throwing to the other team, all kinds. Noah, in other words, for you to win, Noah Igbenogany would have to make a real interception in a game against Allen. Do you think that can happen? No. So they're not going to win. With Tua, they got a shot. Without Tua, let's just enjoy they're in the playoffs, and that's it. That's all. And move on. We'll get ready for next year. Messi could compete to be a field goal kicker for the Dolphins. That is very true right there. How tall is Messi? God, I want to say he's 5'10", maybe. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. He's not a tall guy. In soccer, most of the greatest players are not really tall. He's 5'7". That's the misconception in soccer. Maradona, 5'5". The late great Pelé, rest in peace. He was 5'8". Go look around. This is why when somebody tells you, well, our American athletes don't play soccer, that's why we're not the best. There's a little truth to that. And then there's a whole bunch of big lies. Do you know why? I've done this before. I've done this exercise before. And this will enlighten some of you out there. Okay? Go back to your neighborhood. Wherever you played football, stickball, basketball, hockey, you name it, whatever. You know, your neighborhood had always a couple of good athletes, couple average athletes, couple mediocre athletes. You'd make your teams. You know who would get picked first. You know who would get picked last, all that kind of stuff. And you had different kinds of levels of great athletes, right? You had the big athlete and you had the small athlete. Because we all had that short guy, but he was fast as hell, super talented, could do everything we could do, and even at a better level sometimes. Why? Because we're all kids. We're all young people. And so he wasn't competing against the pros. And so, yeah, all you got to do is go look at them, at all of the big leagues in pro sports. And there are short players that make it, but very few Dustin Pedroias. Very, very few Spud Webbs. Very, very few. I don't know. What's the name of the running back? Damn it, for UCLA. God, he had the 3 names for Jacksonville. What's his name? He wasn't a tall kid. But there's always a couple of those guys. Maurice Jones-Drew. Right? Maurice Jones-Drew was or is 5'7", right? You know, there's a couple of those guys. But the NFL isn't littered with short guys. The NBA isn't littered with short guys. The NHL isn't littered with Theo Fleury's, right? Theo Fleury, right? Let me go with Theo Fleury here. Theo Fleury was 5'6". Okay. I'm staying, in the zone with you. Okay. So let me ask you something. What happened to all those short guys in our neighborhoods? They went on to become accountants and trash collectors and mail clerks and lawyers and policemen and teachers, and they could have gone to soccer. The short, great American athlete has no place pretty much in football and basketball and hockey. Sorry, we have no use for you. You're less than 1% of the people that make it into our leagues. So short people have always been told, oh, yeah, you're a hell of an athlete, dude, but you can't make it in the NFL. And you guys will, you probably can name a couple of those guys, Muggsy Bogues, there you go. You guys will get a couple in there. Darren Sproles, right? You can't get a lot. Soccer's littered with them. Everywhere all over the world. They're not 6'3", they're not 6'5", they're not even 6 foot sometimes. Do they exist? Of course there's a couple of tall guys. Yeah. But do you know how much the short player dominates in soccer? And that's where we lost it. Because you all know that if Americans got truly behind soccer, we would become a power because we have some of the best athletes in the world. Always. We have some of the best training. We have all that stuff, but we have never really dedicated ourselves. And we misguided our short athletes. We directed them to go anywhere else, but you can't play football. You can't play basketball. There's a good chance you won't make it in hockey, kid. I'm sorry. That's just the way it went. And we should have been saying, well, hey, man, you should play soccer. You should play soccer. You should play soccer. And you could have gone international, whatever, and make a boatload of money. More money than being a cop, being a teacher, being a trash collector, being an attorney, being whatever all of our short athletes went and did. So that's the whole misconception about soccer and Americans and all that kind of stuff. Because if you really look at it, there's a crap ton of great athletes that we have that could have moved on, and we could have been a soccer power for a long time. and we can still be a soccer power. And by the way, I want to remind all you short athletes out there that if athletics is your thing, it's in your heart, it's in your soul, you want to compete, man, go to soccer because you can compete there at any height. That's the beauty of that game. It really is. That's the beauty of soccer. You can play it all over the world. You only need a soccer ball, and your size is not required. It's not something they're always going to hold it against you. It's either can you play or can you not play? You know? Andres Iniesta, the Spaniard, 5'7". Neymar, 5'9". Oh, let me see. Mbappe, just out of curiosity. He looks like he's taller. Let me see. He's 5'10", short also. You see what I'm saying? Most of these guys could never play in American sports. Yet, they're earning hundreds of millions of dollars playing soccer. You know, that's the crazy thing, you know. One guy says Martin St. Louis, I believe, was around 5'8". Yeah, you can name a couple of guys in pro sports, in American sports, but they're few and far between. They're nothing. They're less than 1% of the people that have participated in American sports. You know, it's just one of those deals. It's funny like that, but it's a huge misconception that people don't understand. And it's just, you know what it is. They don't follow the sport for real. They don't really understand what's going on. So that's why they say, oh, well, it's just Americans. We don't care about soccer, this, that. And it's true. You know, a lot of Americans probably don't care about soccer, but it's not because our best athletes aren't playing soccer. It's because our best short athletes did not decide to go to soccer. Nobody ever talks about that. It's funny. I've been talking about this for like 20 years. And that's the part that I never read anybody else talk about that. It's like, yo, short American athletes, you can still make hundreds of millions of dollars playing the number one sport in the world. Not the number one sport in the United States, the number one sport in the world. J-Town, Big O, you've been to Shapiro's Deli in Indy? That's good. Sorry if that's a suggestion was brought up already. No, nobody. I haven't. Well, listen, tons of texts come in. I don't see them all. But J-Town, nobody's mentioned that. I gotta write that down. Shapiro's Deli. Okay. Got it. I'm gonna visit Shapiro's Deli when I'm in the combine. I promise you that. Okay. I like it, J-Town. Thank you, my brother. I could always eat a good sub. I love subs, man. Look at Peter Crouch, though. Big O. Guy was like a basketball player on the soccer field, right? No, I'm not saying they're all short. I'm just telling you, most of the greatest players to ever play this game are under 5'9", 5'10". It's amazing. And hell, the elite ones, as you see, they might be 5'5", 5'7", 5'8", which is crazy. Mbappe is the biggest one at 5'10". 5'10". You know? It's the funniest thing. Dario Rangel, it's also the training and academy for the big talent. It's not the same. You know your shit, Dario. They would have to go overseas to get the same thing as the top level players can get. Exactly. But if you showed the talent, then you just go overseas and go play. I agree with you completely. Our process of developing to develop great players, we're way behind. We're now in the last 10 years building these academies all over. We have international football academies that are investing here and opening up, like Miami City FC. I don't know if you guys know, that is PSG's. That's PSG's team, Miami City FC. They play in I don't know if they still play in Tropical Park, but they used to play in Tropical Park. And they also, and then PSG not only owns that team, and a lot of their players come from their PSG academy that's here in South Florida. So that's kind of what you're talking about is what we are now starting to do. And those dividends will pay off, I think, in the next 2 decades, because it's going to take some time for all of that to develop, unfortunately. Gudis on the trade blocks also, along with Bennett. GP says Panther trade rumors. Reinhardt or Duclair possibly going to the Flames. Start calling the Flames. Panthers North. Yeah, it's just... let me ask you something. Paul Maurice, does he survive? Should he survive? Like, this team is so mediocre, dude. How did we go from what you had last season to this? To a team that's not going to make the playoffs? And what are you going to do? You're going to hang on to this guy? I don't know, man. Listen, I might follow the other sports a lot more than hockey. I'm not ever going to tell you I'm some kind of hockey expert, but I do follow the Panthers. And I'm not saying I know the history of Paul Maurice, but my God, it doesn't seem like there's a guy that you desperately need to hang on to. I'm not impressed. I don't think anybody should be. I'm super, and I know GP Trapp is like a monster hockey fan. I see it on social media. He loves his hockey. And this is so disappointing, dude. I'm so disgusted by the Panthers. I can't imagine what Vinny Viola and Doug Seaforth are, how they must be so frustrated, for making the changes they made. And this is what the product. And did you have to go to that extreme? Couldn't it be more about just trying to improve the defense, yet keep the offensive structure that you had? I don't know. This sucks, brother. And then the owners, they hire the hockey people. They do what the hockey people say they want them to do. They do it all. They pay all the salaries. And then now, and I don't blame them if they got to dump a bunch of stuff so they can try to cut some money and save. It's really frustrating to see what has happened to the Panthers. My God. I've kind of stayed away from talking too much about the Panthers because there's nothing good to talk about. All I do is spend my time ripping them. And I really want them to succeed. And, man, they just can't get over the hump. Frankie says, if you're short, you play soccer or go wrestle. The way Sean can talk about you in his show, which hopefully comes back next week. Yeah, it will. He's going to come back next week with the wrestling show. We'll get that going. I'm not expecting a Sunday, but maybe we can cover the 10.5. LOL. Maybe. Why not? The defense usually keeps in all the games. No matter what. Although stopping Josh Allen running, God, I hate that the Dolphins are facing a running quarterback. Because, man, that has been something that has killed this team. Big O, his coaching record says it all, the type of coach you were getting. I know, but I'm not, you know what I mean? Too extreme. I'm going to be honest about this. I'm not this hockey expert that knows exactly what happened to Paul Maurice in the last stop or this stop, and that maybe it was out of his control or whatever, this, that. And you're right. He hasn't really accomplished anything big in his career so far. And to expect it here, it's probably what you're saying is foolish, right? And I get it. But, man, it has been a outright disaster, dude. Wow, it has been disgusting. Who would be the best player to spy Josh Allen? I don't think they have one. Well, they have one. He's just not ready. But I would think it would be Channing Tindall because of his speed. But because he's not ready, this is what happens. They need a badass middle linebacker that can, Zach. They need somebody that can run sideline to sideline. And they don't have that guy. They got to go get that guy. That's a priority next offseason, whether you get him in free agency or you can find it in the draft in the second or third rounds. There you go. Jonathan said the same thing. And Boss B says, yay, Square Circle Digest. Damn right. It's coming back, right? Next week, Sean? Square Circle Digest. Look at that. I got the thumbs up. So you wrestling fanatics will get your fill next week, starting next week. I'm telling you, I am not going to stop until I get this dude in front of an arena or inside an arena doing a wrestling show prior to some kind of a WWE event or Extreme or any of those leagues that he covers. Okay? What is it, Hall of Fame one? What's the name of that one? The Hall of Fame League or whatever? Do they come down here at all? Do any of those outside of WWE? You told me that they're kind of dumping this place. It's more Tampa.
Yeah, All Elite, I think, is what you're talking about.
All Elite. There you go. That will be when I will be happiest. When I see him doing what he loves to do in front of an arena. And then we're going to set it up where we'll get wrestling people and all that kind of stuff on his show. I got to get that done. Okay? Because I know he kicks ass in this and he knows his stuff. What we need to do is support him and build it up. That's what we need to do as a family. Big O heading to Vegas this weekend. Would you bet on the Bills to cover? No, I'd bet on the Dolphins to cover the 10.5. That's what I would bet on. Don't ask me, bro. I'm not betting against my team. I bet on the Dolphins over 8.5. I'm not betting that they don't get over 8.5. I can't do that. It's just not in my DNA. I cannot sit there and root against the Dolphins. That's torturous. I'm not going to root against the Heat or the Canes, or I don't have to root against the Marlins. They root against themselves, but still I'm not rooting against the Marlins. I can't do that. I can't bet against my favorite team. I can't root against them. I can't wish that they suck. I'll tell you that they suck. I'll tell you they don't have a shot with Skyler. I'll tell you that. But I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, I'm rooting. No. I'm hoping Skyler completes it. I'm hoping he plays better. I hope he shuts me up and plays kick ass. But I'm not rooting against him. I can't do that, man. Can't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it. All right, Frankie Fresco, CCW special. Aaron Levy or Super Crazy? Ariel Levy or Super Crazy? Well, okay, it's pretty simple. Okay. We're in a super crazy like society. We're in a super crazy like world. There's a lot of super crazy people out there. Marjorie Taylor Greene comes to mind as a super crazy person out there. And see, Ariel Levy reminds me of Levy restaurants, which they serve you that bad food on planes. And so, I'm not really looking forward to that bad food on planes. I'm not looking forward to that, those kind of mishmash stuff that they send out to different hotels and airplanes and all that kind of stuff. So since I don't want any of that fake food, I'm leaving Ariel Levy behind for having that. And I'm going to go super crazy. Because I'm super crazy about the Dolphins, about the Marlins, about the Panthers, about the Heat, about the Canes, about Inter Miami. And overall, I'm probably super crazy as it is as a human being. So I'm going to go super crazy over Ariel Bad Food Levy. Sean gave me a double thumbs down, which that means I'm going to win big time. Okay? So tomorrow when I ask him, so what happened? He's going to say, I don't know how you do it, but you do it every time. Because the analysis that I bring to the table for wrestling, no one else can bring to the table.
But this one is not AEW. This is CCW, which is on Friday night, I believe, in Kissimmee, if I'm not mistaken.
That's fine. I'll ask you during the pregame show on Sunday. Okay. How did I do? And
I'm sure Frankie or Boss B will let you know. Oh, they wrestle Saturday. I'm sorry. Friday, I know Super Crazy's in Kissimmee is what Boss B is saying. So Saturday, they wrestle at CCW.
Okay. All right. Where is that event taking place? Do you know?
No, I don't. It's probably, let's see, they did the Brew, I think, last week. So I'd have to see where they're at.
What is the Brew? Where was that at?
The Bash at the Brew. It's hold on a minute.
Big O, McDaniel did less with the supposed talent we have. I believe he cost us at least 3 games. You did mention that we had a coach earlier in the year. How do you feel now? I love him. I love McDaniel. He's a terrible game day coach. He's got to work on that. Okay, but he's got a great offensive mind. He got the max out of Tua. I like McDaniel, man, but I'm gonna be objective here. His game day management, oh shit, yeah, it's not good. But again, first year coach. Now he's had everything thrown his way. So, well, a lot of things. He's still got more that he hasn't dealt with, I'm sure, over the next couple of years. But I want to see if he grows into it next year. This isn't Cam Cameron, bro. All right, this isn't the Brian Flores. No, this guy's good. Okay, he knows his stuff. He's just got to kind of tweak things and learn from his mistakes. He's a really smart guy, so I hope he learns. I'm not about getting rid of McDaniel. Okay, but I am honest enough to say he's got to improve on game day. Yes, sir, Sean.
It looks like it was a. Hold on, I took myself out of the screen. East Hialeah or Homestead. There's been both, and now it says Unbranded Brewing in Hialeah is what it says.
How are you not doing a show there?
Because I have to have one day with the family. That was Saturday. They were usually wrestle Saturdays. Is usually when most of the shows are.
Okay, no family. Okay,
all right. Yeah, I mean, I can't be living in boxes and cars. I don't get good Wi-Fi in those areas.
Family. Okay. Family. All right. So then when the football season ends, you got to get me in contact with those people. Give me some contacts. I'll make this shit happen, bro.
Already in contact with them.
Oh, look at you. Look at
I used to wrestle for CCW when I wrestled. Okay. It's been a little bit, but I wrestled for them.
All right. So the Sean Allen on premises. That is going to make me happy. There you go. I like that. I like that. Big O, have you ever watched the comedy special with Bill Burr? Also Joe Rogan. They're hilarious. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Yeah. I like Joe Rogan. Sometimes he has some crazy stuff that he'll say that, might be a little off, but overall, I think he does a really good job with his show, and he always gets some pretty good guests too. He gets into some interesting conversations. Some of them, a little off, but that's all right. Eddie Lepp says, look at what we had at coach and QB since Shula and Marino. I'm psyched about where we're at now. So am I. I love McDaniel. No, he's got to improve the game day stuff, but I'm good with him. I'm good. We also have to improve our challenge choices. Quit hurting. Yeah, no, quit burning our 3 timeouts. No. He's terrible at challenges. I'm telling you, game day. He doesn't know when to run when he has to run. He doesn't go. He goes for field goals when he's not supposed to. He doesn't know when he's supposed to punt. He sucks at challenging plays. I mean, yeah, dude, his game day stuff outside of his game planning, his play design and all that stuff, he's good at that. But all the other stuff, oh my God, he sucks at it. He's bad. He's bad. He's got to get better at that. But I'm not willing to give up on the guy because you can learn from that. Okay? Hopefully he won't be Herm Edwards, who did not learn clock management ever throughout his career. Ask a Jets or a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and they will tell you. That's something he never got. So we will find out if he gets better, because there are people like that don't learn. And they do continue to have problems during game day. God, I hate to use the old man card, and I always got to use it. Jesus Christ, Shula was ahead of everybody every time. Man, that guy managed games 99% of the time perfectly. It's just, you really, when you see a great coach, you know the difference, like right off the bat, and McDaniel has all the potential of it. He knows offenses. He just has to, and guys play hard for him too, by the way. And guys like him, he connects with guys. There's a lot of positives with Mike McDaniel. The only thing he needs to work on with me is only one thing: game day coaching. That's it. That's the only thing I ask him to do. Everything else I like about him. I think he excels at everything else. He just needs this one thing, and it's big. Don't get me wrong. It's big because just like the listener said, I don't know about 3, but he's definitely cost him about 2 games at least because poor coaching cost him that for sure. Big O, next season we'll make it happen. Watch party at my house. You will bring the setup, you and Sean. I'll have my cousin Shambi there. Let's run it in. All right, let's do it. I like it. Big O, I'm going to Buffalo this weekend for the playoff game. What should I avoid with Bills Mafia? Bills Mafia is fine, bro. Just avoid the idiots. Well, no, you don't have to avoid the idiots jumping on tables. You can film that for us. So if you get the idiots filming, jumping on tables, film that for us at least. That'll be the Bills fans will be fine. They're cool, dude. They're not bad people. No, they're not bad people. So you'll be fine. It's not like going to a Rams game, okay, or a Niners game or something, or or they're just disgusting. Those people. Yeah, Sean.
Going off what Michelle was just talking about. The Athletic is saying the Atlanta United is close to finalizing an agreement that would see 2018 MLS MVP Joseph Martinez leave the club, freeing him to sign with Inter Miami.
All right. I like it. Good player. Good player. You got to get guys that can finish. And Inter needs a few guys like that. And he's obviously much more creative than Higuain was. So I like it. I'm good. McDaniel farms out aspects if the game to his coaches, maybe too many people in the mix on game day. Well, his game day decisions, I don't think have to do with the assistant coaches. And by the way, whoever he has up there with the challenge, fired. You need to get somebody better. Steal somebody from somebody else. Do whatever you have to do. Copa America is being hosted here in the United States in 2024. That'll be fun. All right, what else do we have? Tom Brady to the Raiders. That's what one report has. Garoppolo as the backup plan. I would not ever sign Jimmy Garoppolo. That guy is more injured than Tua Tagovailoa every day of the week and twice on Sundays. He's missing more games this year than Tua Tagovailoa already. He misses games like crazy. I don't know why you would want to sign that guy. Yeah, he can play the game, but he never can stay healthy, ever. And he's been in the league a lot. Dude, that guy got injured in the 4 games that Tom Brady was suspended for Deflategate. It's crazy, man. But Tom Brady in a Raiders uniform, that does make sense. That does make sense. Do they win it all there? I don't know about that. But he will have his they play the Raiders next year. So not Raiders. I'm sorry, if they play the Patriots next year. So Tom would enjoy beating the Patriots next year with the Raiders. So, all right, we are out of here. We thank Anthony Chang. We thank Manny Navarro. We thank Michelle Kaufman. As always, we thank all of you for tuning in and supporting us here on the program. If you sent in a super chat, or of course, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show, visit our sponsors. Very important you visit our sponsors. All right. Great sponsors that we have here on the platform. On behalf of Sean Stanley, thank you all out there. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:45. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a great one.